Again, welcome to podcast The Storm. We're social outcast, crazy weird, all around nerds can talk and debate all things pop culture. With me, as always, is my co-host, the nerdy occultist, aka Dalton Computer, Dalton L. Mortimer.
Hello, everyone. It's a trailer week.
And I'm your host, like Samuel Wannabe, the brainstorm of pop culture. And just don't spoil it before I could do the build-up. Yes, we have a different one just because, like, honestly, this has been a week of trailers because I forgot it was Comic-Con week and stuff came out.
Although I don't think any of these trailers have anything to do with Comic-Con, because Comic-Con is basically a non-entity this year.
I think they were released at Comic-Con, but I don't think they were.
Were they?
That's not how we found them.
Because I haven't seen any coverage of this year's Comic-Con, which in and of itself is kind of sad because, funnily enough, Comic-Con usually happens right around the time of my birthday, whether it's a couple days before or a couple days after. Like this year, it was a couple days after, because my birthday was Tuesday. But yeah.
To be fully honest, I don't really keep track of like San Diego Comic-Con, honestly, because I think it's kind of an overwhelming at this point. I prefer the smaller ones because I think like there's a lot more. Okay, not let me rephrase that. I think there's more to those than like that one, and it kind of has. It kind of stopped being about comics a while ago.
I've always had a dream of going to San Diego Comic-Con at some point.
I just don't think I'd ever be able to go just because of money. I would never have enough money to go.
That's why it's a dream. But yeah, I still, it's on my bucket list to go to Comic-Con at least once.
I mean, I always honestly, if I could just go to like a convention that ends up in nerd flavoring, I guess. No, that's not weird.
I've been to, funny story. The very first Comic-Con I ever went to was Gem City Comic-Con in Dayton, Ohio, and the university arena was actually what was used for it. But the very first Comic-Con I ever went to, I actually got to be on a panel because my comic book club, my comic book club helped to throw it, and the panel was on variant covers and the speculator boom and how they ruined comics. And I still have yet to be proven wrong on that. Unfortunately, I don't remember much of it because I was sleep deprived as fuck. I hadn't slept in like 2 days when that happened. So, yeah.
Somehow it doesn't surprise you that you were on a panel like that.
I mean, that will always be a badge of pride that the very first con I ever went to, I actually got to be on a panel.
Yeah.
I just wish I had been more coherent and sane at the time. But yeah, college was doing a number on my anxiety, and I was this close to self-destructing entirely.
Anything else? Well, I do also want to mention these are just the ones that we are going to cover this week because there were some other things I thought we could talk about, but that'll be next week.
This was a busy week, so we had to determine what goes where, and we just decided to group all the trailers together.
Well, no, there are still some other trailers, but I think these are the more prominent.
Yeah, again, we'll need to. They can be spaced out more. This one, we were gonna have to do a trailer week either this week or next week, and it just made sense to try it this week.
Yeah,
trailers are a lot quicker to respond to than our articles.
Depends on the material, I suppose, but I don't think you're entirely wrong either.
Just as a general rule, we tend to move through trailers at a faster clip than we do articles or videos.
Hello, Jonah.
Hello, Jonah.
Yeah. So, everyone's favorite superheroine of the MCU. We're getting a sequel / crossover / whatever the fuck this is. The Marvel trailer.
The soft reboot that we don't want to admit is a soft reboot because that would imply that the people we define as evil are right about things, and we can't have that.
So this is. So I do want to mention a few things because I have not really heard much about this, nor have I really sought out anything in terms of news about this movie. But
no,
I think it's supposed to connect to a few things. I was supposed to be a sequel to Captain Marvel, which did very horribly and was not a good movie. Sort of to technically be a mainstream introduction to Monica Rambeau, who was introduced in WandaVision, but kind of got fucked over with certain writing choices.
Yeah, it's Captain Marvel, WandaVision,
Miss Marvel,
and Secret Invasion.
Right, and I have a few things to say. Miss Marvel, who I have not seen that, nor did I really. I'm sorry, it's just like any of the promotional stuff I saw of it never really grabbed me, to be fully honest.
Well, that's the thing, and that's why I suspect this movie is going to bomb horribly, because you've got Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, played by Brie Larson, who people viscerally don't like, as in like viscerally hate, on an instinctive level. You've got Monica, who is probably the most well liked of the three, but even she has the black mark of she let Wanda entirely off the hook, and said the stupid thing of they'll never know what you sacrificed for them. And instead of doing the same thing, which would have been treating Wanda like Everett Ross eats the Hulk, but no, she let Wanda off the hook in WandaVision, and that's always going to be a black mark on her record, even though she's the most well-liked of the three. Then you've got Kamala Khan, whose show mostly focused on like slice of life, like teenage high school shenanigans, and like Muslim background. And they changed her powers, which even the fans of Miss Marvel don't like, that they changed her powers to differentiate her from Mr. Fantastic. Now, granted, I actually do like the retcon of her powers. I think they're more interesting. I also kind of liked that she was a djinn, because that's a interesting sort of sub race in the Marvel universe that never gets any like play or respect. And then they went and retconned it again to make her a mutant djinn, which is counterproductive because we literally just got introduced to djinn, and now you're already adding modifiers to it. So she's a mutant djinn, not just a regular djinn, apparently now. And also making her a mutant instead of an inhuman or a djinn pisses off everyone, especially because the showrunners in the finale, when they revealed that Kamala was a mutant, they used the X-Men 90s stinger. Which means, mind you, that Kamala Khan is in the continuity of the MCU the first confirmed mutant in the entire goddamn thing. So, yeah, no, fuck you. There are a lot of reasons why people are either entirely apathetic to Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. There are a bunch of reasons why people are either pissed off or apathetic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, also, almost no one actually, just judging by the viewing figures, almost no one actually watched Miss Marvel. So that nerfed your audience. The people who watched WandaVision either don't like or don't care about Monica. And of course, barring the fact that it came out right in the middle of Infinity War and Endgame and said that it was going to be important to those things, Captain Marvel probably wouldn't have made any money either. And even if it was going to, people viscerally hate Brie Larson's version of Captain Marvel. So I don't exactly know where the money is coming from, and you can't even argue that, Sam Jackson is going to save it, because the most recent example of what they did with Nick Fury is Secret Invasion, and no one watches or likes that.
I also want to point out that I remember a lot of people saying recently that Secret Invasion feels like a very a Captain Marvel 2 story.
Yeah, it's a tie-in. It's definitely a tie-in, in very much the same way as Miss Marvel was. And also, again, I'm just gonna say it. I didn't like the original Secret Invasion storyline to begin with, and especially in a cinematic universe where continuity is the watchword, pulling the rug out from under people and going, whoops, that continuity that you gave a shit about isn't continuity anymore because the person was a Skrull all along. It really doesn't work.
So hello, Dragon Turtle. You said hi like 2 minutes ago.
Hello, Dragon Turtle.
Yeah. And Jonah Arc says not going to make more than 150K. Jonah Arc said it's not going to make more than 150K.
See, prior to the Flash and Indiana Jones bombing, I would have at least thought that it would have made as much as Birds of Prey did, which was about 218, 27. Like I don't remember exactly what Birds of Prey made at the box office. I want to say it was in the 200s. So my initial thought process is it was at least going to tie with Birds of Prey, but then the Flash made less than that. So and Blue Beetle also looks like it's going to end up making less than that. So
I'm sorry. I don't mean I've been kind of. I don't want to repeat some things, but I've had a lot of time to sit with the Flash movie after I've seen it 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I still think it's shit, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's weird to me that I honestly, again, on paper, I legitimately think that movie could work.
Yes, because you have that emotional character investment bug in your brain, you do.
No. The elements of it could have worked if it was done better.
Well, it also would have done better if they had went with the original plan for the reboot of the DC Universe instead of doing a reboot story without actually providing the reboot at the end. Because unless they actually are stupid enough to make George Clooney the canonical Batman now, which I would riot. That's one of the few cases where I would be standing right there with the protesters on that one. Unless they actually are going to make George Clooney the default Batman now, which no, just no, no further references to Schumacher or Clooney, please.
To be fair, I legitimately think that no one was able to do good if not that second movie because video stuff.
Right, but what I mean is the whole purpose of the Flash like industry paper was supposed to be the in-universe reason why the reboot happens. It was supposed to be our in-universe explanation as to why we get a mulligan now on the continuity. And they fucked it up because they didn't even tie in the rebooted continuity with the actual new reboot. What they should have done is waited to release The Flash until after they cast the new Batman and the new Superman, and then had them show up at the end, so that it's a clean transition. But they didn't even do that right. So,
for the record, I said this like last week, but I don't think it had an emotional core to it, or it didn't have a genuine emotional core. It felt very manufactured.
Which I was literally thinking as I was watching it. I bet the emotional scenes with the mom are at least going to appeal to Brainstormer, but apparently no, they didn't even do that right.
The issue is they don't really last that long. Like I don't last long enough to gain a connection. That's the issue, you know.
Mm-hmm. And if not even Brainstormer is convinced by the woo-woo emotional character driven bullshit, then you done fucked up. Because he's the easiest sell in the world for stuff like that.
Also, Ezra Miller, even if he was actually doing not a bad, or they were doing not a bad job as Barry Allen, I just can't look in his face without like thinking, oh, this guy's a piece of shit.
Well, see, I'm less affected by Ezra Miller doing Ezra Miller things because I don't equate artistic quality with moral quality, and I never have. So to me, those are two separate categories. I don't give a fuck if you beat puppies to death in your free time as long as you're good at making art. I'm actually more mad at James Gunn for constantly running his mouth, failing to read the room, and getting rid of everything people do like, and keeping a lot of the shit that people don't like for no good reason.
Anyway.
I'm actually more mad at the DC clusterfuck than I am at the Ezra Miller thing. Because I've always understood the notion that moral quality and artistic quality, while they can coexist, are two different things. So I don't look for moral quality in artists. I look for artistic quality in artists, and hang the consequences.
Anyway, it's like a full change for like what 10 or so minutes.
Yeah. Anyway, let's cosmically banana.
Okay. Yeah, banana.
Carol Danvers, prodigal child of the Milky Way.
Nick Fury, my favorite one-eyed man of intrigue.
How goes it out there?
You know, cold, no air, space.
Her voice is the most annoying thing in the universe. I'm sorry, I can't listen to it without it being ear-splittingly snarky. She spits such dry vitriol in every line she gives. I don't get what her fucking problem is.
The visuals are also very lacking.
Yeah, no, the production design is crap. It is so on autopilot. It's sad. It
like
literally
how flat the lighting is.
It literally looks like something you would see on the Disney Plus TV shows. And in fact, at the very least, WandaVision had better production values than this. The other ones, less so, but at the very least, WandaVision had the money behind it, and you could see it.
No.
Cosmic Banana?
Captain Marvel, the Annihilator. You took everything from me. And now I'm returning the favor.
Okay, maybe I missed a trick here, but who the fuck is that?
I'm sorry. I'm more just. I mean, yeah, that too, and also the whole visual style of everything is throwing me off. Just how cheap it is. Like Stan films look better than this.
Like unironically, and I'm gonna say this, and people are gonna hate me for it, but unironically, Smallville back in the early 2000s had more visual style and better visual effects than this.
Yeah, because
effort.
Yeah, everything here feels both. Well, honestly, this has kind of been a thing for like a while now.
I know, but it keeps getting worse, and that's not how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's very flat and empty, you know.
Yeah, and the visual effects again look worse than a CW show from the early 2000s.
I don't know. Anyway.
But I was saying the thing about the random villainess who I don't have any idea who she is. Because here's the thing, Cosmic and Mystical Marvel is my shit. Like I know it back to front and center and sideways. So the fact that I'm sitting here racking my fucking brain trying to figure out, okay, we have a female villain who has the ability to combine people's powers or bind them together and has some sort of axe to grind with the three Marvel adjacent, like the three people named after Captain Marvel.
She mentioned Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers.
But her scheme implies she has something against all three of them. Because otherwise, why would she even connect Kamala and Monica to this whole rigmarole? So at the most, I guess you could say she's the female leader of the Shi'ar Empire, whose name I can't remember. The one that I think she was also in X-Men Dark Phoenix. What the fuck is her name that I'm blanking on?
Luke?
No.
I'll look this up real quick and it's bugging me too.
Yeah, the female leader of the Shi'ar Empire who was in Dark Phoenix. I keep wanting to say Ilana, but I know that's not right. Because if she was a Shi'ar and Captain Marvel somehow destroyed the Shi'ar Empire, that would make at least some sense. Never mind that it makes no sense why she would have an axe to grind against Monica or Kamala, but I assume that might be explained in the movie. But I'm just trying to figure out who the fuck she's actually supposed to be. Like, is she a gender flipped version of a male character? Is that why I'm blanking? Is she supposed to be Scrambler? That would actually make sense if she was Scrambler, a gender flipped version of Scrambler.
Luke.
Hmm.
Luke. Yeah, Luke.
Are you sure? Because I could have sworn she was called something beginning with A, and it was a female name. She was in, or at least it was referenced in Dark Phoenix. I'm pretty sure.
Luke. That's her name. I was looking at it.
Okay, then I have no fucking idea. But point being, I guess she might be a version of Scrambler, and she's scrambling Monica, Carol, and Kamala's powers. That would kind of, if I squint, makes at least a little bit more sense than I am completely blanking today. But it does make a little bit more sense than when they gender flip. That's what I was thinking. When they gender flip Taskmaster for the Black Widow movie. There we go. Anyway,
so the character is Darvin, who is a disenfranchised general serving in the Kree Army. Yeah, it is a gender bent version.
Okay, so she's supposed to be a Kree. That does sort of make sense, given the whole backstory. But did Captain Marvel genocide the Kree? Like, does this character actually have a reason to be fucking pissed?
He's also supposed to be an accuser of the Kree Empire.
Okay. So it's less of a you took everything from me in the personal sense, like the trailer's implying, and more of a you beat us in battle and I'm pissed at you for it. Okay. That's less interesting than the personal motive that was sort of implied by this trailer, but okay, fine.
So our obvious role that is pretending to be a person that has been killed by all of Marvel.
It wouldn't surprise me if they've got to set up some Kree and some Skrull getting together because Hulkling. And if they don't, I'm gonna be fucking annoyed.
Is this a shonen show? I'm gonna need context on that because I haven't watched anime in like about a decade and a half. Jonah.
What about it implies shonen, Jonah? I think you're doing an insult to shonen here because
shonen is fun. This isn't.
Because yeah, shonen. Basically, every shonen I've ever come across is better than this nonsense.
Even Naruto, that shit got fucking confusing for a while.
And in fairness, isn't there even a Marvel anime that qualifies as a shonen as well, which is also better than this?
I don't remember, man. I stopped watching anime a long time ago.
Anyway, Cosmic Banana.
What is happening to me? She's entangled our light-based powers, so we switch places whenever we use them.
Strong theory.
You can absorb light.
Fact check. Fuck you, no she can't. Her powers are based on the cosmic energy of the Space Infinity Stone, channeled through the Tesseract.
Oh, right. Okay. So I was showing basically the whole fight. The whole I fight you for the space that you beat me up there type that people only see. Also, I need help with getting a PC. I have no money, and I have a computer myself that is from 2009.
And I don't even have a computer. I do everything on my phone.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry, John. We cannot help you as much as I would like to. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Lola, she Bob Bembo has like 3 more emotions left, and she's going into in game.
I mean, we haven't seen them yet. She's still doing resting dry as a bone bitch face that she always did, with a sprinkling of snarky entitlement. So I don't see any more emotions than she normally displays. Anyway, but yeah, no, Monica, fuck you. No, Carol cannot absorb light. If she can, all of a sudden now that is a retcon. She exudes a kind of light because of the way her aura of cosmic energy displays itself, but no, she doesn't have the ability to absorb light energy. She had one dose of cosmic energy that unlocked her latent potential, which was drawn from the Space Infinity Stone in the Tesseract and channeled through the like technical apparatus of some sort of free super engine. So like nowhere in there are you getting light-based power from.
I also want to point this out. We got a really awesome Captain Marvel, like not Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers Miss Marvel, about a decade ago. Avengers Mighty Heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
until they retconned her personality and made her a bitter middle-aged feminist.
Also, Jonah, I feel like that's insulting bimbos because at least they're somewhat entertaining.
Bimbos at least enjoy themselves. Bimbos at least have fun. Brie Larson is the kind of type A mean girl who resents bimbos for having fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, Cosmic Banana.
Again, also, Jesus, I'm sorry. It's just like it looks so flat. Like sitcoms look better than this.
It literally looks on par with a Disney Plus show. Ironically.
I've seen some good Disney Plus shows, to be fair.
Well, but no, I mean the MCU Disney Plus shows.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Anyway, yeah, we really should move on. We've got 4 more trailers to do today.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, there are bad moments, bad looking scenes in the MCU shows.
I mean, the only MCU show that looked actually pretty good, that was Marvel related, was WandaVision. Everything else has been made kind of on varying degrees of the cheap, for no good reason. Anyway, on with the thing. Yeah. Cosmic Banana.
I can see it. And Kamala. Who's Kamala? Hi. She can turn light into physical matter, which I have never heard of.
I could totally show you.
Okay. Again, I know I'm being a pedantic asshole here, but one, Monica, your powers, even the ones that have been established so far, already well exceed just seeing the full energy or full light spectrum. And that's the other thing. Your sight-based abilities don't even stop at the edges of the light spectrum. You can see non light-based energies. Like you could fucking see the magical energy that was in the enchanted necklace that Agatha Harkness gave to Ralph Boner, because every time I say that phrase, something in my soul dies horribly.
Surprisingly, you still have any soul left. Okay.
The only reason I've survived this long is because I'm pretty sure I deeded at least part of it to Mab, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, yeah, no, you also have force field projection. You also can phase. And by the way, how the fuck exactly do all of your powers become interlinked like this? Anyway, because Carol's is.
Actually, Jonah did say this. Under technicality, it is light and quantum style power sets that can basically do anything other than basic energy attacks. It's the MCU, technically magic at this point.
Okay, you You could not possibly have said that without wanting me to spur, Jonah. So we're not addressing that.
Also, John, I think she, which I assume is Monica, explain the way their powers work to normal people to understand what is going on with them and how it could work, which is good and makes sense as not to want to disturb owners.
Okay, but that contradicts already established shit in the MCU. And it's inaccurate given what they need to do for the movie anyway. So again, going through their powers, I'm confused as to how the fuck they got linked like this in the first place. Because Monica's come from the fact that she was exposed to Scarlet Witch's reality bending hex magic, which I suppose you could make the argument that because her powers were amplified by the Mind Stone, some level of like cosmic energy from the Mind Stone is in Monica now, or altered her in some way. So I guess between Monica and Carol kind of works. But the problem is that Kamala's come from the fact that she's a djinn and a mutant, apparently. Also, once again, I'm being pedantic as shit here, but your powers are energy-based. That doesn't necessarily make them light-based. And also, if you're defining raw energy or pure energy as light, Monica, you most definitely have seen people or are aware of people other than Kamala who can turn light, in air quotes, into solid constructs. Like, half of the spells that Doctor Strange uses are basically using light, air quotes, energy constructs. So same thing with Wanda, same thing with Agatha, same thing with Ghost, actually, whose powers are quantum. Like this line should not exist, because in this universe, it's not exactly like day to day, but it is certainly common in the spheres you're particularly running in. And you've run into at least 2 people who have done this before, Monica, in your role as a high-ranking sword agent. So yeah, no, I press X to refute all of the above. Everything you just said was a meaningless, useless bit of dialogue that actually contradicts existing continuity and your own characters. So no, fuck off. You were wrong about the way your own universe works, and it pisses me off. Goodbye. Moving on. Cosmic Benefit. Unless Brainstorm are left to do something. I think Brainstormer did leave to do something, which is annoying.
Sorry, I'm back. Went to grab something to eat because I thought he taught longer. Okay. There are, in my opinion, nuclear magic is technically cosmic power, but there are a lot of different branches for this type that many people can think for it. But people like Doctor Strange use the pure magic part of it.
Except that's canonically not what fucking happens, Jonah. Because until we've been confirmed otherwise, and we haven't been confirmed otherwise to this point, cosmic energy and magical energy are 2 separate fucking things, and they come from different sources. In the case of sorcery, which is, Doctor Strange, the Ancient One, etc. In the case of sorcery, they draw power from alternate dimensions, which are metaphysical in nature. To use a real world magic term, the sorcerers in the MCU are users of high magic, whereas witchcraft comes under normal circumstances. Wanda is an exception, but under normal circumstances, the witchcraft we have in the MCU comes from the ambient magical energy inherent to the earthly plane, which, by the way, in the comics is what differentiates witchcraft and sorcery. Sorcery comes from higher dimensions. Witchcraft is using the ambient magic of the earthly plane. And so far, that's been followed fairly closely in the MCU as well, with the exception of Wanda, who gets her powers from Chthon because she is an avatar of Chthon, and that's why she has chaos magic. That being said, I guess you could make the argument actually that Wanda therefore is a sorceress rather than a witch, but I don't think anyone other than me is interested in that level of spurgery with regards to detail work. So, meh. But, yeah, no, it is established that cosmic energy and magical energy are separate things, even in the MCU. And the comics already set up that they were separate things, and the MCU is following the comics closely in this regard. So unless someone somewhere makes the connection that they are the same thing, or we get more likely a cosmic entity saying they're the same thing, no, they're not the same thing. Cosmic energy, quantum energy, and magical energy are three separate things in the MCU. They overlap, maybe you could at best make that argument, but yeah, no, they are established to be three separate things. Moving on. So, Cosmic Banana. I hate the soundtrack, by the way. It's very much ooh, look at us, we're trying to be badasses, but it's not connected to fucking anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Banana. Cosmic Banana.
She's targeting every planet we call home. I would never choose to bring anybody into this.
You are not the only thing standing between this and the universe.
Carol, I hate to burst this particular bubble of yours, but you are the only one who has been on other planets of the three of you. So this line was extremely stupid. They're targeting everywhere they're targeting every planet we've called home thing. For two of the three of you, that just means Earth, love. Like, you may have been on other planets in the 30-odd years you've been away, but Monica is on a space station, which is still technically like a suburb of Earth, and Kamala's never freaking left Earth up until this point. So the writers are being dumb by even including that line in the fucking script, because no one but Carol would have any point of reference other than Earth. Unless, of course, they go to like the home dimension of the Jinn in the course of this movie. But even then, it was a stupid decision to try to market the movie with it in the trailer, because out of context, that line is stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Cosmic Banana.
Cosmic Banana.
Oh my god, we're a team.
Higher.
Further. Faster.
God, I hate that line. I hated that line in the original too, but it's it's so much a meaningless. We're trying to be catchy and trying to start a meme line, and it's so inorganic that it makes me cringe. Anyway, Cosmic Banana.
I mean, I got something to say about the line.
Okay.
Honestly, I think the line's okay. I just think it just doesn't have context to anything.
It reminds me of the line from Mean Girls. Stop trying to make fetch happen. It's not going to happen. I'm in the same place with higher, further, faster. It's like, stop trying to make it a thing. It's not a thing. No matter how much you want to make it a thing, it's not going to become a thing. You can't like cringe people into submission with the line higher, further, faster.
I think they are retconning it to be that all three of them have been on other worlds for this movie and before them Civil War, which is the only way we can get all three to other worlds and over to Mars, which is the
Well, again, even if that's the case, even if that's something that's going to be changed in this movie, marketing the movie with a line that will not make sense out of context is stupid. Because either you can provide the context in the trailer, in which case it makes sense, or you have to leave the line out to market the movie. And they, of course, did neither of these things. But anyway, Cosmic Banana.
Who's that good kitty goose?
Can you?
Nick, didn't you get really huffy and dramatic in Winter Soldier about the last time you trusted someone you lost an eye? Shouldn't you either be viscerally hating that cat or cringing in fear away from it, so as to not, potentially lose your other eye? Why would you try to ingratiate yourself to the alien cat that, as stupid as it is in this universe, dug out your eye the last time you got close to it? Like, did the people making Captain Marvel or the Marvels not watch the first movie, and therefore write him in character of he either should be viscerally fucking hating that cat and trying to nuke it, or cringing in fear away from it? He certainly shouldn't nostalgically be going and looking at him like, oh, hello, old friend. No, you bastard alien cat, you dug up my eye. That should, like, he should be paraphrasing Snake on a Plane and going, I have had it with these motherfucking alien cats on this motherfucking spaceship or something. Like, that would be more in character, both for Sam Jackson and for Nick Fury.
I never said it was a smart thing to do.
No, I know, but part of my point, Jonah, was either it's stupid in one way or it's stupid in another way. And in any case, they really shouldn't have used it to market the goddamn trailer at all. But no, apparently Nick Fury is such a doormat now that he will cuddle up to the alien cat that previously dug out his eye, that he was very, very pissed off about in Winter Soldier, if anyone remembers that.
Mm-hmm. No?
Yep.
This is one Dawn one, discover. I wasn't that sure about it. The official trailer for Gen V, Boys Step.
Yep.
So just kind of for context sake, I think it's been pretty well known. I'm not like, so here's the thing, as a property, I'm not the biggest fan of The Boys. Because of its inherent cynicism and stuff. And blatant hatred for the genre it's playing.
Yeah, it's a comic book hating comic book property, basically.
However, I do acknowledge that this show is a lot better than the comic.
Yeah,
it's actually well made and well written. Again, it still does have that overlying like cynicism. That is something I'm not like biggest fan of, just because like it's overbearing. I guess is the best way I could describe it. It's overbearing nihilism. Like the world itself is inherently not.
The world of The Boys itself enjoys screwing everyone in it over.
Yeah.
For no good reason.
Mm-hmm. But I do respect the work, like the actors, the writing, the visual effects, the look of everything is. It's well made. I can respect that.
Yeah, we'll get into it, Jonah. We'll get into it because I saw this once and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to explain what's wrong with this because it's extremely counterintuitive.
I'm just like I said, don't want to cover this because when I watched it, I didn't really think it was worth covering, but you know, if we can have something to talk about, we can talk about it.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Vought Nana, I suppose.
Or Laser Baby.
Hmm?
Or Laser Baby. Laser Baby.
Mm.
Envy. I'll read that in a second, John. Let's just. I don't want to like.
Yeah, we'll address it when we address it, but Vought Nana.
But yeah, no, I actually want to go Laser Baby. If anyone gets that reference from the show.
I don't get the reference from the show, so I don't know how they would.
There's a baby in season 1 that has laser eyes. Butcher used it to like cut people down. Okay, let's just Vought Nana then. Fuck it.
Okay.
I'm creative with this shit.
The reference was too obscure to make any sense. Is the thing.
They literally did an animated. Fuck it, whatever. I'm not. How is it that I might not like this show, but I still know more about
it? Frankly, because the things that interest me about The Boys don't really have to do with random side characters that get introduced and then forgotten about in 5 seconds.
Anyway, Vought Nana.
What?
Being a hero is not about glory. It's about sacrifice.
Welcome to Godolphin University. We've trained the best and brightest young heroes since 1965. Godolphin.
And I'm gonna say this because just send things up.
I'm gonna let them get partway through the setup before I make my case as to why I wanted to cover this.
Again, production value is good, you
know. And Clancy Brown is always a win.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, I wish he had a role in the actual original show, because I feel like this role's too small for him. He deserves more.
If I remember correctly, Godolphin University, and I could be wrong, it's supposed to be the play on the Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters.
Yeah, they're doing their X-Men basically. Yep. What now?
Vulcan.
Vulcan is a safe space for you to thrive.
Marie Moreau, you could be the first top-ranked freshman in history.
I think you meant to say first black woman in 7.
Okay, now I think I will address the thing. Here's the biggest problem with it. And it's an incredibly counterintuitive problem because, as both Brainstorm and I have established, we hate the goddamn overbearing, absurdist nihilism of The Boys. But this is at least nominally supposed to be a Boys spinoff. So you have the freedom to do what if The Boys but college/high school kids. And you don't go any darker, raunchier, or more salacious with it. Like, imagine a show like Degrassi or Dawson's Creek in a Boys-style celebrity superhero universe. You can do the worst, most over-the-top frat boy stereotypes you want. You know, the steroid-abusing jock character, except of course it's Compound V this time, and you know, constantly banging, you know, cheerleaders and prostitutes and so on. But no, instead, this is the big problem with it. It plays it too straight. It plays it too much like an actual like X-Men adjacent thing. When in actuality, if you want to be all satirical and edgy and dark and absurdist and shit, like, this was the perfect setting to do that. To go full, you know, what if we took the worst, most toxic aspects of frat boy culture and added The Boys and Compound V into the mix? But no, instead, they actually seem to be playing it somewhat straight with regards to, like, an X-Men riff. And it bothers me.
I would say Umbrella Academy, maybe, but I don't
yeah,
think
Umbrella Academy is actually darker and more edgy than what we're seeing here. And that's some bullshit, because this is The Boys. This is, you know, where we satirize, you know, toxic dude-broism and celebrity culture and the vapidity of celebrity culture. And I mean, for fuck's sake, one of the episodes last week or last season was called Herogasm, for fuck's sake, and featured like a goddamn orgy. Like, this really shouldn't be like you're gonna take that type of show and stick it in a high school/college environment with teenagers, and they're not going to abuse their powers and become frat bro douches or extremely catty mean girl bitches. Like, Jupiter's Legacy also did this idea better with Samson's daughter there.
Chloe. Chloe.
Yeah, thank you, Chloe. Like, that's basically how I would expect this to go in a boys style universe with, you know, teenagers or young adults. You'd get the prima donnas, you get the athlete stereotypes and so on and so forth. Like,
I also want to
the super orgies in the super frat house, etc. Like, this shouldn't be that hard.
Also, just want to point this out. Jupiter's Legacy deserves far more. Jupiter's Legacy deserves more.
Yes, Jupiter's Legacy did deserve more because it was actually a better version of what I think The Boy, like, it was a better version of what The Boys was trying to do, I think. But in any case, like, in any case, yeah, Jupiter's Legacy did this idea a lot better with, like, Chloe, and also with the dude with the teleporting the voice controlled teleporting gizmo there. Thank you. I can't remember the fucking names. But yeah, you can do raunchy adult oriented superhero show with teenagers / young adults and play a lot more with have a lot more fun with it. Hell, there was even a movie a while ago called, and by a while ago I mean like probably 20 years ago now, or close to it. My superhero ex-girlfriend. There's a scene in that where they're having sexy time and her superpowers make it incredibly, overblown. That's the kind of shit I would expect in a What If Degrassi or Dawson's Creek, but with superpowers. Or What If X-Men, but in The Boys.
To be fair, a spin-off can be totally different from the main.
Right, but I don't see what makes it special if you're not gonna do The Boys, but even more over the top and raunchier because teenagers. Like, who was asking them to play the X-Men straight in a boys' universe?
It could just be the trailer not showing that stuff in the show proper.
It could be, but that's a questionable marketing decision because maybe I'm unusual, but when I heard they were doing a college or high school oriented spin-off of The Boys, that was the first thing I thought of was, oh, I bet they're gonna lampoon the shit out of frat boy culture, but with superpowers.
Alright. I'd say you see, Dylan spoke this earlier. Also, hello, Showtime Gaming. Gen B equals Gen Z with powers.
Yeah, but even then, you could do a lot more satire with that if they're supposed to be like imagine social justice warriors in the Boys universe. People who actually do, at least nominally, want to use their powers for a good, but instead of using it for anything resembling a reasonable good, they go full social justice with it. They even kind of did that with John Kent in Superboy after they aged him up, where he basically started marching with Antifa or BLM or whatever the fuck.
I'll ask this question. What was the Degrassi like? The only school-based live action show I've seen like in currently remember is the class. Good show that way. Okay, imagine, if you've ever seen Riverdale, it's kind of like that.
But a bit edgier, basically. It's Riverdale, but edgier.
Have you seen the comic?
Wait, Gen V is based on a comic?
Any context for that question, Jonah?
Yeah, I don't know, because if you're talking about the original Boys comic, then my point stands. It should be a high school aged spin-off of The Boys should be, over the top frat bro-isms taken to and like celebrity / all-star athlete isms taken to the nth degree.
Okay, Bencho hasn't seen Riverdale. The Boys comic.
Yeah. In which case my point definitely stands that a spin-off of The Boys in a high school setting, a la like X-Men, should be a riff on every over-the-top comedic, satiric, satirizable frat bro-ism and celebrity coach, celebrity athlete-ism out there. Like you could play with the recruiter idea and that how far athletes will go to impress their recruiters and shit in colleges and so.
Technically, not physically. I have watched coverage of from a YouTuber known as Danny Malls, just like comic retro. No. comic retrospectives on the stories. I watched all the boys stuff. Remember the writers were stacked for the SofaCon gaming.
This was completed before the strike, though, Ahsoka. So that's not even an excuse.
I don't know. I got nothing really to say, so going
What, Nana?
You have a target on your back.
A few of us are going off campus. Let's have a good time. I'm still drunk from last night.
Perfect. Just take a sip, say Turbo Rush cures hangovers.
Wouldn't pour this on my give-me-cured cancer.
Okay, that's a little bit akin to what I was thinking, but it should be so much more. And like even if it's a trailer, you should be able to play with the absurdist imagery of it. Like, again, think of the scene in My Superhero Ex-Girlfriend.
SofaCon gaming. I mean, it ain't the same writers, I'm guessing. From like the actual show. I don't know. I don't really have to think. Like I said, I'm not exactly. I don't really. Yeah, I don't care enough about the voice to really think about this.
These aren't Homelander's generation or Maeve's generation. These are supposed to be these are supposed to be the equivalent of the X-Men in this universe, and the main heroes will show up as like professors or inspirations or like mascots, basically.
I think this is supposed to be the boys in high school. Yeah,
and that being the case, it should be a lot more flamboyantly edgy than it is.
I don't really have anything to say, to be honest.
Anyway, what, Nana?
What?
There are dangerous, evil people at that school.
And this would be shocking if it weren't for the fact that this is goddamn boys' universe. Unless maybe this is supposed to be the premise, like maybe Vought learned from what happened with Homelander and his generation of heroes, so they're trying to like mollycoddle the students more in this generation so that they don't all become narcissistic sociopaths. Like maybe this is supposed to kind of be a Truman Show type thing where the people who run the school are monitoring the interior of the school to make sure that it all looks as wholesome and like Saved by the Bellish as possible, instead of being the debaucherous scumhole that a boys-based high school would be.
Yeah.
That would actually be an interesting premise. Maybe that's what they're going for. Maybe that's why it doesn't totally make any goddamn sense. And then this kid and people and presumably the rest of the main cast are going to discover just who was pulling the strings and how they're pulling the strings to keep everything nice and neat and happy for them. Maybe that's going to be the premise. Maybe this is going to be like the boys' take on the Truman Show. Or what was that one show? Tower Prep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But Nana.
Everything is. I exploded his
Tag team explosion.
Freshman class savage.
I'm starting to get more boys' vibes as anyone who's there, like more latter half of it.
Yeah, I guess the premise is going to be that, again, from what Vought learned from the mistakes made with Homelander, they're trying to mollycoddle the supers so that they don't all become sociopaths. And the students are eventually going to realize how they got Truman showed.
Mm.
And that's when it's going to go darker, maybe. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah. But now. Oh, fuck.
I do also want to kind of be a little more positive with it, I guess. It does. The actors are actually really charismatic and enjoyable.
Yeah, if it turns out that my second viewing interpretation is right, and this is the premise of, like, they're trying to play it very, very safe with the supers this time so that they don't get more Homelanders. And this is the students effectively being Truman showed for their own safety, and then they're gonna find out and go a little nuts, kind of like the end of Solstice Party. I could see that. And that actually would be a decent premise for a show. I just don't understand why they marketed it this way, because from the surface level of the marketing, it really does look like they're abandoning everything that made the boys, like, unique and special. And for the record, I really kind of hate the boys. It is a self-hating superhero IP. That being said, if you're going to do the boys, you have to kind of commit to the bit.
Mhm.
You can't just change direction when your audience. And again, it would probably be better if the audience wasn't so gung ho for the boys. But you have to play with the audience you're dealt and not the one you wish you had. Because as every IP in Hollywood is slowly learning, when you refuse to play with the audience you're dealt and try to search out a new one, or upgrade your audience, it always crashes and burns. So even if they are being clever with the whole, like, you know, high school Truman Show aspect, for the sake of not creating more sociopaths with superpowers, you probably still could have found a better way of marketing it. Like, I would play up the them constantly being observed thing, kind of like Cabin in the Woods. Like, I would have shown the idyllic life for just a few seconds prior, and then I would show, like, the bank of people watching the TV screens, observing their behavior and making sure everything is docile. I would have played with that, and then you can show, like, a little bit of the character figuring out they're being Truman showed. That would be interesting.
Oh,
Have we gained a corrupt? You're mute, by the way.
There we go. I should be unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Let me see. I heard you guys. What's up? What did you say, Brainstormer?
Welcome back to the land of the living.
Thank you. I have some stuff happened. I'll tell y'all about it I'll tell y'all about it later. Just some stuff happened to me.
When doesn't it? Corrupt has some of the worst luck ever.
I get sick a lot.
Mm-hmm. The only person I know with a more fragile immune system than me.
You'd be surprised too, because you look at me, I don't look like I have a fragile immune system, but like surprisingly I do. I never got sick a lot, so
the wind changes and Corrupt is bedbound for another week or something.
Someone actually said that like I'm really like I have a really fragile immune system. Okay, I'm trying to fix my audio so that it goes through my headset. Let me see.
Kind of good you guys came out the time you did, because we covered we covered the Marvels trailer first.
Okay, give me 1 second. Hold on, let me mute for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
He's fixing his audio issues.
Jonah Ark says, "Hey, would you love the idea of having to watch 5 to 30 shows for you to understand a movie with a few characters that is needed plus?"
If the shows were good, it wouldn't matter. If the shows were actually worthwhile in their own right and didn't undermine the consistency of their own IP, it wouldn't matter.
I'm back. What did you say, Brainstormer?
It's a good thing you came when you did, because we're covering trailers this week. I'm actually almost done. We covered the Marvels first.
Ugh.
And then we just got done with Gen V. I thought
the boys spinoff.
Oh, Gen V. That I saw. Like, there's this guy I watched sometime named Tyrone Magnus, and I think he was looking at a reaction trailer for it, but I didn't get a chance to see his reaction to it, so I haven't gotten a chance to see it.
I'm not surprised that you follow him. Actually, it makes sense to me. Actually, kind of a little bit.
I like Tyrone because he's like a super normie, and it's important to get like a normie's perspective on these types of things.
He is, and he's less insufferable than Armin from Comic Cast 2. That guy is officially too normie for me. Like Armin from Comic Cast 2. Yeah, he just like it annoys me because he thinks he's so informed, and in actuality, he basically is informed on the level of Wikipedia usually.
Yeah. Is it kind of like those people who like only watch comic? It's kind of like those people who don't want to read comic books, but have a vague curiosity about what's going to happen.
They still want to be they still want to be in the fandom of the movies, and yet they claim to be lifelong fans of X, Y, and Z characters.
Exactly. So they watch,
but only after the movie fucking comes out.
Yeah, and they only watch Comic Story. What is not Comic Story? What's the guy who reads the comic books to you?
Comic Storian is one, and then Comics Explained is the other one.
Comics Explained. It's like they don't know who half these fucking characters are, nor do they care. But like some asshole is going to read a wiki article to you, so that's good enough.
Like whatever you may think of Linkara, and he certainly has gone downhill in recent years, he at least actually offers a informed, geeky opinion on things.
Yeah, he gives you he gives you his opinion. You may not agree with the opinion, but he gives it to you. Like whereas like with Comic Storian and Comics Explained, it's like I'm going to read the wiki article to you from the Marvel wiki or I'll like glance over like a comic book from like a comic pirate site.
But that's the thing. If they did what the Russian comic book guy does and just make them like visual audiobooks, that would be more honest and would probably net them more praise than trying to simultaneously be comic Wikipedia in video form and also an audiobook.
Probably because it's just quicker to get it out, and it doesn't take as much work. Like, you can probably get twice as at that, and the way that YouTube works, if you upload a lot like daily, you get more engagement and more traffic. And it's
well, I mean, they do have
out,
2 million subscribers between them, so like, what the fuck do we know?
It's easy to just shit things out. So it's like, fuck it, whatever.
Anyway, next segment, I suppose. We
just realized I haven't been in the comic shop in 2 months.
Oh, y'all talked about the Marvels? Ew. God.
We did. It was terrible. It was cringe.
I mean, Brie Larson can get this dick, but Jesus Christ, like, oh my God, like, that shit looks painful. Holy shit.
You have a very terrible track record for picking who you stick things in.
I mean, it's just so her personality is like a just horrible, but like her looks are pretty okay with me. Like, I can separate personality from looks. Most people,
right? But as the immortal golden rule says, never stick it in crazy.
This is true.
By your like very lack of standards, you remind me of a family member of mine.
Ouch! I think I know the one you mean, and sweet merciful fucking God.
Actually, no, Don, not the one you're thinking.
Okay. I was about to fucking say, because if you're comparing him to the black sheep of your family, then I'm insulted by proxy for him. And we lost him. I assume it was technical difficulties and not him bitching out.
Yeah, it says device not connected, so.
Okay, so Corrupt is once more fixing his technical issues.
Yeah.
And we will open up the next thing, so when he comes back, we can actually start a thing.
Yeah. Well, we're going to cover the season 2 teaser trailer for Invincible.
Yay, happiness. A positive example of a thing. Yay.
Although I think we should wait until Ruff comes back on.
Yeah, it depending on how long it takes him, but yeah, I'm not opposed to waiting.
All right, sorry about that. I tried to change my avatar thing. Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I tried to change my avatar thing, but somehow I got disconnected somehow.
Oh, joy. StreamYard is being an ass.
Oh, here we go. I can do it. There we go. Boom. I'm good. All right. I'm ready when you guys are.
Right,
okay.
Also, I want to give context for the joke made earlier by comparing Corrupt to a family member of mine who also has low standards when it comes to dating.
Yeah.
It's actually it's a family member I'm very close to. So it was more or less a compliment, I guess, even though I totally rip on him having low standards and shit.
And the reason I reacted the way I did was because I thought he was comparing you to his least favorite family member, but apparently not.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to Invincible season 2 trailer.
All right, so I probably should watch the Gen V trailer. But I don't like. Before we watch this, what is it? Is it like horrible? Like, I came in and you were talking about how it's not like The Boys. So like, what is it?
The big problem I had with the Gen V trailer, in summary, was it's supposed to be a kind of like the X-Men equivalent in The Boys. It's supposed to be a super high school or super college.
Ew.
And you would think in such a given the the base premise of The Boys, a high school or college oriented spin-off of The Boys would be playing off of every raunchy, overindulgent, hedonistic frat culture stereotype in a high school environment, but with the added absurdity of superpowers and murder and shit.
But it's like super feminist.
No, they didn't. The thing that bothered me about it was they kind of, for most of the trailer, were playing it straight, as though they were just basically doing their version of the X-Men. And the thing was, even though I don't really like The Boys all that much, that's not what The Boys audience is going for.
Yeah,
so that was my main complaint. But having watched it all the way through a second time for the sake of the reaction, I sort of now I'm thinking that the premise is supposed to be that the reason why the high school environment is so idyllic is because Vought is micromanaging it to prevent another Homelander scenario, to prevent the creation of another generation of superpowered sociopaths. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to start the show with it being all uncharacteristically idyllic and shit, and then the students are going to figure out that they're basically being monitored. They're being Truman showed, is how I put it.
I see. Like, if they aren't though, like that kind of goes against the nature of The Boys, since it's like
that's what I said. I'm like, I don't even really like The Boys, but this is one of the few times where I actually wanted to see what they would do, because The Boys in an adult environment is kind of cringy and nihilistic, but you do a boys style thing in a high school environment with every, tawdry, like teen soap opera Degrassi-esque bit of bullshit with the added absurdity of superpowers. Yes, I actually want that. I want to see the superpowered equivalent of the frat bro jock who's constantly banging cheerleaders and so on and so forth. Like, that sounds interesting, and it sounds like it could, like, the egos and hormones of teenagers mixed with superpowers actually sounds like it could be darkly satirical in the way I think The Boys usually wants to be, but always has to hold back at least a little bit because they are adults.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like that, and what you're describing for Gen V, it seems more like it's a Marvel. It would be like a Marvel Disney product than like a Boys thing, unless it does subvert your expectations and it does go into exactly what you described.
Yeah, the Truman Show aspect where the students realize they've been micromanaged and mollycoddled and then go nuts.
And just start raping each other and killing each other.
But even then, as a marketing ploy, I don't think it's gonna go well for them, because what people go for with The Boys specifically is the what if we took superheroes and applied like the veneer of like celebrity / like athlete culture to them.
Yeah, like
in a nihilistic way.
Yeah, the thing about The Boys is that it's very much like this subversive like thing that is an attack that is basically pretty anti-superhero. Like it is pretty anti-superhero.
I mean, the show is less so than the comic, though. To be fair,
comic
was
In
worse.
the comics, they do like horrible. They do horrible shit now, but in the comics, it's like 1,000 times worse.
And in the show, they at least try to give more like character-oriented reasons and context to the stupid and evil shit they do. Anyway, onto a more positive subject matter. Invincible Season 2 trailer.
Honestly, this is my preferred kind of subversive take on superhero stuff to The Boys.
Like that's the thing. There is nothing that The Boys does, in my opinion, that Invincible doesn't do better.
So is Invincible like? I haven't seen Invincible yet. So is Invincible like subversive too, or no?
Yes, but
yes, but it's more. There's more effort put. There's more effort put into like the storytelling and the characters in Invincible.
Okay, yeah, and I get the feeling it's not all like superheroes are stupid and you should be stupid for liking them.
It's
All right.
I honestly would say mature, but I realize that's kind of broad. It's sincere in its kind of subversive.
It's a more unique play on the evil Superman trope, because the idea, to kind of spoil season 1 for you, is that the Superman of the setting, Omni-Man, he plays like he is the Superman figure, but as it turns out, the species he's from, the Viltrumites, are actually a lot more like the Saiyans from Dragon Ball, and and the reason he came to the planet in the first place was to
like wipe it out.
Well, not to wipe it out, but to make the population of the planet subservient, so that it could then become part of the Viltrumite Empire.
Okay, I do kind of remember hearing about that. Like, I remember there's some scene where he says that his wife is like a pet to him or something.
Yes, because the Viltrumites are stupidly powerful and stupidly long-lived, so they view humans in the way people probably would view goldfish or something like that. Yeah.
Giant Joe brings us up interesting. Yes, to see Invincible, and sounds like I like it, but so far still hold Parahumans as the best superhero franchise trying to be realistic.
Let me see. Also, Brainstormer, why are you so low for me? Let me see if I can turn
you up. Yeah, I don't. His mic always does that to me too, and I don't know why. Like I
don't. It's been like that for a while. I have no idea what to do with it.
All right, no problem. Let's see. What is this? Season trailer 2. This is the Pink Atom or whatever she's called, right?
No.
The character you're thinking of is Adam Eve, but I don't think that's her.
No, that was like for a special that's connected to this, but this is the trailer for the actual season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Banana.
All right.
I also want to keep in mind that everyone who keeps bringing on my mic, not to keep censoring, but legitimately, my computer is literally from 2009, and I'm using built-in mic from the computer.
Yes, I know, but that just highlights the fact that you need to upgrade your technology already. God damn it!
I've got no fucking money to upgrade. Okay, so I don't know what the fuck you want me to do.
If you can get a if you can get like a $20 headset from Walmart, that might work, because I've heard
the mic would at least be better, yeah.
Yeah, and I know people who've gotten like $20 headsets that have worked better than like the $100+ that I've spent for this.
Yeah, the Blue Yetis and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. Like it does. Like I have this Blue Yeti, and like people are like, "Oh, I use a fucking headset mic that works a lot better than your Blue Yeti."
Yeah. But your birthday and Christmas are in November and December respectively, so that's something to keep in mind.
I need to get a new phone because I've had mine for like 10 years now. So.
Okay, well that's something else too. But anyway, let's Banana. We haven't even gotten the trailer yet.
Yeah. Banana.
For some of you, it probably seemed like this day would never come. Maybe you're even wondering if you're ready for this. Or what comes next. You have no idea what I'm capable of.
I like the sort of wink and nod at the audience there. Oh, you thought we were never making season 2. Well, here's season 2. Like that's the thing. Invincible's sense of humor is a lot less cynical than The Boys. even though it's just as over the top and bloody in places as The Boys is, or
It
more so.
always seemed more sincere to me, like you said
Yeah.
earlier,
Mhm.
than like The Boys, which is just like, oh, we hate the subject matter. Whereas Invincible is like, no, we like the subject matter, but we do play with it.
We want to do something. We want to do something interesting and unique with it. So here, have blood and guts and gore occasionally.
Yeah, the thing is, like, it's not kind of with The Boys. It's the blood and guts and gore kind of happen all the time, to the point where
Like-
it's just the name of it.
Yeah,
Well,
like how
with Invincible,
yeah, the first thing you see is L Train running through his wife.
A-Train.
I'm sorry, A Train.
Yeah, in the comic, he literally just But yeah, in the Boys, they tend to save that stuff for actual dramatically relevant moments.
Yeah. Also, The Boys don't have like actual supervillains anyway, whereas like Invincible does.
Well, that, and of
Yeah,
course,
they-
the power scaling difference is absurd because
Yeah.
for as powerful as the Seven are in their universe, put them in any other superhero universe and they are small fish.
Oh yeah, I think someone,
Yeah,
I forgot who told me that. Like the Seven aren't really that strong, and they don't really have that much experience.
Yeah, I actually brought
I
that up.
thought it was me who told you that, but I could be wrong.
I remember bringing that up to Corrupt one time when we had a discussion about that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we do it here once? But
Oh
Yeah.
because y'all were the ones who told me like the Seven aren't that strong.
Yeah, like
no,
in Middle,
comparatively.
but because they're the only beings with superpowers. Any other universe, and I also brought up the fact that you got to think about like experience. Like all other heroes in other universes with powers and stuff are both experienced in how to use their powers and fighting ones that are bigger and stronger than them.
Whereas the
combat.
Boys are literally a product, or rather, the Seven are literally a product.
They don't have. Yeah, they don't have the experience of fighting like actual supervillains with like superpowers and shit. I think that at most they fought are like terrorists.
They're also performers. Everything they do is basically one long reality TV sketch.
So it's all fixed. So it's all staged anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So so to any assholes out there who do that whole Homelander versus Superman debate, Superman's gonna kick his ass. Okay.
The only thing preventing him from kicking Homelander's ass is that Superman is that nice of a guy that he wouldn't want to. But if Homelander gave him a reason to, it would take less than 5 seconds.
There's actually a comment I remember out there that someone made where it was Homelander versus the Powerpuff Girls and Superman came in to save them. Granted, I do think Powerpuff Girls would also kick Homelander's ass.
Yeah, I don't think it would even take. I don't think it would even take all three of them. I'm pretty sure Buttercup on one of her angrier fits could just punch through his chest.
Right, because like Homelander's powerful, but he's powerful in the respect that everyone around him is like really weak compared to like every other superhero.
Well, like the top of his power threshold is he can survive the Zarbamba. That's the top of his power threshold. But he can only move a couple times faster than sound, whereas other like Superman-like figures can move faster than light or even break the light barrier sometimes. His strength is still measured in tons, whereas most Superman or Superman-like figures are measured in whatever the fuck a step above megatons are, and so on and so forth. So like, yeah, like he's the most powerful person in his universe, but everyone in his universe gets their power from from Compound V, which is basically a slightly more specialized version of the Super Soldier Serum from Captain America.
Whoa. Well, okay, yeah, I get what you mean now.
Yeah. So like, and need I remind you that Captain America is fairly street level in his respective universe, whereas, so if you stuck Homelander in the Marvel universe, probably even Captain America could beat him up. I mean, he might have some advantage because of the flying thing and the laser eyes, but
yeah.
Even then, I mean, I would imagine that vibranium is stronger than Homelander's laser eyes, and so on and so forth. So like,
that makes sense actually, and they have to be centered around a hero that could actually take them out, right? So they're going to be like proportionately of a proportionate level to where the boys could realistically like take them out.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense.
Anyway, go ahead, Brainstormer. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
One other thought that just came to mind in terms of the Boys comic and the Boys TV show, that in the comic, I believe there are supervillains.
There are supervillains in the Boys?
In the comics, yeah, I think so.
I remember someone told me that like they were like hand waved away as to why they existed or something like that. I forgot. Someone told me like they were hand waved away.
I thought that they were I thought that they were specifically set up to be supervillains by Vought for the sake of the basically reality TV nonsense.
Oh, so they don't even exist. So they only exist in the respect that they are just like props. Okay.
There needs to be a villain in order for heroism to work. So
okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, but
is how weird it is that there aren't any. I mean, granted, again, it's not an actual. There are no good guys in the Boys show, really.
Well, yeah, the universe of the Boys is not one that lends itself to good characters. There are just varying degrees of morally gray edgelords.
Shades of gray. Oh my god! Ready when
I also realized that the animation they definitely got a budget increase for animation for the second season. So.
Oh shit! All right.
He was.
I don't fight friends because I would win.
Never apologize for saving lives.
There's only one way this kid goes back out there, and that's on a very short leash.
I'm just happy helping people.
Ugh, the girlfriend.
Yeah, Amber.
Oh, it's that chick.
Adam Eve.
I remember her from the was it I think the special you just told me about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they released a short film about her basically.
Yeah, it's supposed to be an origin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not really seeing much, obviously, but I'm still hyped because like the first season was pretty good, and
the person who wrote the comic is actually behind the show as well, which is good.
I think he's supposed to be a writer, not a showrunner, but either way, I think it does help that the original creator of the series is working on this.
That being said, sometimes that backfires horribly, cough Neil Gaiman, but in this case it doesn't appear to have. In this case, the guy seems to have had enough self-awareness to actually figure out how to improve on his story instead of trying to undermine it at every given opportunity. Again, Neil. But
so I want to. So you know what? I'm going to start a drinking game here, people. Every time someone complains about the Sandman TV show from Netflix, take a drink.
Don't make them do that. They'll die of alcohol poisoning before the stream is over.
I remember watching that show and thinking like, while the black people in here look boring as fuck, because like when you look at the Sandman or whatever, right, the character designs look interesting. Then all the black characters just look like normal ass people. It's like, okay, that's about it. And it's just like, if you're going to have like characters in the cast, make them look interesting. Don't make them look like Jessica from down the street. Like, what the fuck?
There were a lot of problems with the Netflix Sandman adaptation, and the worst of them is that Neil Gaiman tacitly condoned most of them, which is sad.
Wait, and then the dude who plays the Sandman, he's just the most dull-looking motherfucker. Holy shit.
Honestly,
the character design should have been much more like the comic. It would have been much more interesting, but they didn't bother.
Don, you're probably gonna hate me for this, or just give me a weird eye. I legitimately think the Sandman show should have been animated.
See, but I don't want that, because at that point there's no point in adapting it. That's just taking pictures that were static and making them move.
All right,
I want to see the actual translation of something that was a drawing into a real world medium.
Should have stayed what, Brainstormer? An animation?
It should have been an animation.
I agree with Brainstormer. It should have been an animation. That would have been
and again, I state my case that I wouldn't want that, because that's just taking something that was drawings and making them move, which it defeats the purpose in adapting it. I want to see it translated to live action, but I want to see it translated to live action as it's supposed to fucking be, not half-assed.
I understand.
The Chainsaw Man looks amazing as an anime, though.
No, I'm not saying that you can't also do animated movies or whatever, but as a this is the first time Sandman has been adapted, I don't want to see just take the drawings from the comic and make them move. I want to see an actual translation of what was in the comic to a live action medium.
Well, I mean, a lot of comic book fans do like the live action.
Because to me, while obviously some animation is better than others, there's less of a wow factor when you just take something that was drawings already and make it move.
Like, can you imagine the Batman Who Laughs in live action with like little boys on leashes?
They would never. It would have to be a direct to video movie, and they would never do that in live action. like you would. The Batman Who Laughs makes the boys look like super friends.
The whole Dark Knight and Dark Knight Metal thing, that was edgy as fuck.
I loved how edgy that was. The Batman Who Laughs is my favorite villain. I get so much shit for saying that, but I like him. I think he's cool.
I will say this. There was one character that I really liked just from his design alone that came from that like a whole story event stuff. The Final Night.
The Final Night. Is that not the Grim Knight, right? It's just Punisher Batman.
No. It is okay. Well, I don't know if anyone knows this character. Duke Thomas, the Signal, who also became a Monitor at one point. Basically became like it's a dark multiverse version of the guy who basically tore off the flesh of a bat dragon and coated himself in it. Like dark multiverse was dying. Has a guitar axe. It's a whole magical thing, but basically he's a god, a dark multiverse god that is fighting for hope in the darkness.
Wait, okay. At first, when you said a Dark Knight god, I thought you meant like the actual evil bat god thing that only. Okay, Barbados. Yeah, I thought you meant Barbados at first.
Actually, you know what? I'll pull up an image of the final night because, what, like I said, if nothing else, it's the design that really gets me.
I feel like I feel like Dalton. Do you hate all of the Dark Knight fucking characters? Do you hate them all, Dalton?
Dark Knight's metal was annoying because it
thought so.
And it's nothing even necessarily to do with the characters. It's what it does to DC's like cosmic or mystical epistemology. It's the same thing with Wonder Woman's or Justice League Dark Witching Hour. It takes something that was a really well elaborated mystical universe and simplifies it down way too fucking much. And I really hate that instead of getting the original incarnation of Dream back in Dark Knight's Metal, we had to be reminded that Daniel Hall fucking took over, and I hate Daniel Hall so much as a character because his entire purpose is to be nothing but a meaningless Deus Ex Machina, and I hate it.
Oh. I thought it also had to do with the fact that how edgy it was, and I know you aren't fond of things that are like terribly edgy.
Like I don't mind Dark Knight's Metal as a concept. It could work. It's just I dislike that in order to tell Dark Knight's Metal, they have to untell a bunch of better stories. They have to undo previously established canon in order to make it work, and I hate it.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's taking me 10 minutes to load because I have very shitty internet. $50 a month. God damn it.
Like, I did destroy the old cosmology. There's there's so much unnecessary lore to it too. There's like good universes and bad universes, and the bad universes are where all the bad stuff that happens to the good universe goes.
Right,
like,
and it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous too because they started it under the auspices of trying to streamline shit, and they didn't end up streamlining anything. They just made it more overcomplicated. They just didn't and it's worse now because it's not tied together neatly. It doesn't organically follow from shit. It just this is the case now because we say so.
True. I mean, then again, in like the good universe, Brainstormer would have functional internet and a computer. So there you go.
Yeah, it replaced previously established lore that already works in the name of making it more simple, and then they just made it more complicated anyway. Anyway, let's get back to Invincible.
I don't think I'm gonna get the image.
So like, what is this pink chick's deal anyway? Like, what is she? What does she do?
Matter manipulation.
Sure.
Oh, okay.
So she's similar to Dr. Manhattan or Molecule Man.
So she's like super strong then.
Well, not physically, no, but in terms of like
when I say super strong, I mean like her power scale is like really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you watch the short film, when she got really pissed off at someone, she literally just like atomized them because she could literally feel every molecule in their bodies and decided to rearrange them.
So I really wanted to. I really like the Red Death. Like again, in design, I thought it was cool. But like Dark Multiverse. Sorry, I don't know. If nothing else, they have a lot of interesting designs for a lot of like the evil Batman from the Dark Multiverse.
Yeah.
That's like the positive thing I can say about it.
Anyway.
Too bad they fucked up with the voice on Flash. Sorry, yeah.
Banana?
One second, I'll be right back.
Okay.
You can reanimate corpses with matter. Didn't know she could do that.
Well, she also doesn't know she can do that based on the fact that she didn't in the animated in the short film. That was sort of why she got pissed off in the first place, was because she thought that she couldn't bring people back.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody had killed her family.
Wait, so, can you hear us? Can people hear us?
Can you guys hear us? Because I don't know why Ahsoka wouldn't be able to hear us. Testing 1 2 testing. Testing.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay.
She can reanimate corpses with matter manipulation. That's kind of cool.
Okay, yeah, okay.
When you say she atomized somebody, or like, what do you mean? Like, what did she do?
She pulled their atoms apart piece by piece.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Jesus.
And unless I'm misremembering, she then took their atoms and rearranged them. Brainstormer, you're breaking up horribly, my friend.
That is a horrible way to die. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna have to leave real quick.
Okay, jump out and jump back in.
Yeah.
Your connection need rebooting.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know. I don't really think there's anything I can do because, again, I have the cheapest internet. Actually, yeah, no, that fucking, yeah, that makes sense. Why it's so shit now.
Anyway, so we can hear you. We can hear you now, Brainstormer. You're fine for the moment.
Okay.
Anyway, shall we banana then?
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
You know people try to kill us every single day, right?
I don't care how old he is. He needs to go down now.
Maybe if you train more and complain less, we can get back to saving lives.
Make him pay for what he did to your world.
Welcome.
This is again, I do want to mention this is a teaser trailer, so probably is probably not showing like a lot of things. But I also dig how like they did like the effectively a star-studded cast, even though they think this is voicing these characters. But you never like you more see the characters obviously than the actors, which is kind of why I'm not a big fan of like certain live action stuff.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes you see the actor more than you see the character.
That's a failure of the act, though. I think if they can't disappear enough into the role, or if they don't pick a role that jives with their personality enough.
I see your point, but still.
Because those are the two options for actors. Either you can disappear into a role you're playing, or you can be typecast in a certain role set that is basically an extension of your personality. But if you can't do either of those two things, then you probably have no business acting. You can do one or the other, or even, sometimes actors are good enough to do both. But if you can't do at least one of those two things, then you probably have no business being an actor.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's why I prefer to be behind the camera instead of in front of it, because I know I could never play a character. Well, then also, I'm just stage fright, I guess.
Oh, Brainstormer! Someday I will cure you of that, but I wouldn't want to destroy your innocence.
I'm not sure but okay. Also, again, I just think I work better behind the camera instead of in front of it. I'm more of a writer and director and kind of thing, editor, stuff like that. Thanks, Earl. Is it just me or is Adam Eve OP as fuck? He has such fine control that she can do things like one dead. House doesn't even need raw power. It transforms a side segment of anti-spell writing. Yeah, she's powerful, but there are limits to her powers, either mental or otherwise.
She limits herself more than anything.
Yeah.
I mean to be fair, people with like energy manipulation or matter manipulation are always OP as fuck. It's just that writers never seem to realize the full implications of the character they're writing for.
I mean, I think it's like a combination of the two. Like when you write a character who has like matter manipulation or some form of manipulation in general, you run into the issue of, oh shit, this fucker is too powerful for a lot of things, so I have to either handicap them in some capacity or
be good at my fucking job.
Exactly. Thank you.
Other option.
Exactly.
And that's why I always get pissed off when they go the other route, because it's like, if you have to nerf the character for your own peace of mind, you probably shouldn't be writing the character to begin with. You can't.
Go ahead.
Yeah. If the character is powerful enough that you can't do a straight up, punchy story, then don't do a fucking punchy story, or figure out a way that the punches can actually land in a new interesting way.
I will say this thing that. Sorry.
Go ahead. You're fine.
Well, the thing that always kind of bugs me in terms of writing like superpowers is the lack of creativity in the use of them, I think. Either in battle or using them for everyday situations.
Yeah, that's why that's one of the things we tried our damnedest to make sure to avoid in the Lionheart universe, was we tend to try and rather than nerf the characters for the sake of the story, we write the story around the characters.
It's a pain in the ass. I'm answer so, and there are times I really want to beat the shit out of Dolman myself. It's how much work we've had to put into it.
But it always results in a better product at the end of the day. So neener.
I will say I will say this, that like it isn't always like a problem of the failing of the writer when it comes to making powerful characters. Sometimes like you can make a character and I hate saying this term, but power creep happens. And you get to a point in the story where it's like, oh shit, this character isn't supposed to be quite this powerful at this point. So, like, I mean, it happens. I don't want to say like it's a failing of a writer all
Right.
together. Sometimes these things just happen. You know.
But even so, if power creep can happen with a hero, then it can happen with the characters around them too. So.
I mean, it can, but it's like, so it can, but there might be a point where, say you have a hero character and they get stronger, but they're stronger than your current cast of villains or obstacles, and there's not really a realistic way for that to happen, or at least there's not a way that would make sense according to the story for everyone to just get really powerful unless you just introduce a really strong villain. Like I said, like these things just happen.
Like the shonen problem?
Say that again, Brainstormer.
Isn't that like the shonen problem?
No, not really, because like when it comes to shonen, it's like you have a hero and a central villain, right? And when he overcomes that obstacle, like there's a large world, so you go to another area or another land and you run into a villain who's obviously going to be on par with you or stronger. It works because you're working with a large world where it makes sense for there to be villains that are stronger than you. Like I think the issue that you're thinking of is like Dragon Ball Z, and like with Dragon Ball Z, that's not really as much of an issue as you would think, because the universe is so large and it's multi-layered, like there's like different dimensions and shit.
Well,
so
but that's the thing. That's also true of any given superhero universe. It's just the writers never utilize what they have at their disposal.
I'm not saying they don't. I'm not saying they don't. I'm just saying I can see a situation in which it might be difficult for a writer to come at a point where it's like, oh shit, the character's a little too strong, and I'm kind of fucked at the moment.
Or you just write a situation that can't be solved by a simple punch the bad guy in the face.
I mean, I think you can. I guess my position is more or less like I can see a situation in which something might crop up that you might not have expected, even when you're like doing a pretty good job as a writer.
Well, okay, but and here's the other thing: if you can write the character becomes less powerful story in a way that, one, is temporary, and two, actually has some emotional weight behind it, i.e. is a compelling story in its own right, you can do that. There are a couple rules though. Number one, you have to do that sparingly, otherwise it becomes the crutch of literally every 5 minutes we're doing that. Or two, you have to write a story that's part redemption arc and part power scaling arc, where they eventually get the power that they lost back, and then some.
I mean, a lot of it requires a lot of it when it comes to writing requires like a lot of planning, and some planning, like it requires like a lot of planning to make sure that like all the pieces of the puzzle fit together. You know?
Well, and that's the biggest problem is, you're right, it does require that work, and writers in today's day and age just are absolutely anathema to ever doing that planning.
That's why to your point though, that's why we have a fucking Gaia versus Gravik, and now we have Gaia, who's like super fucking powerful in the MCU and has all the fucking powers of the Avengers and Thanos.
Which that could work if you wrote the character with more than a single dimension, and also thought of something for her to fucking do, because we've had omni-powerful characters before. They got Hulk off of Earth in Age of Ultron. They didn't have Star-Lord figure out he had celestial powers until he needed them, and then of course they were tied to Ego, so nominally he lost them. Even though I thought that was a complete waste of sort. I think he should have. I think he should have kept them, at least for the sake of Infinity War. Like that would have been better, I think. But
I think a lot.
I digress. The point is that when you introduce an omnipowerful character like that, the power isn't the problem. It's that you don't know what to fucking do with the character at that point. And that's the other half of the problem. I think I mentioned this before, where writers will write the power set, but they won't write the character. They won't allow the character's preferences or personality to impact how they choose to use their powers or the limits they impose on themselves.
What I like about a lot of shonen is that like the character's power set is usually based on the character's personality. Like for, let's use Naruto as an example, right? Like his power set is kind of is tailored to his particular personality. Like I'll even go something with silly like like clone jutsu, right? So in Naruto, they have this thing where they can clone themselves. Basically, it's like a jutsu.
Yeah,
so
it's a shadow clone jutsu.
Basically, what they did was Naruto is kind of an idiot, but he's also kind of smart. But what he did was instead of creating a clone, he turned himself into a sexy woman. And like it sounds silly, but it fits with the
it makes sense for his character and
exactly
how he would choose to use his powers.
Yeah, it's just silly. Not Boruto. Naruto, not Boruto. Jonah Arts. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Jonah Arts. There we go. But yeah, to move on from that though. But yeah, I get what you're. But yeah, like when it comes to this Gaia character for Secret Invasion, like
she doesn't have a character really.
She's stronger than Captain Marvel technically. So now you have yet another really strong character that has like no personality.
Well, that's the other problem. Is she's supposed to have been the Super Skrull. But the Super Skrull is, of course, male.
I thought Gravik was technically supposed to be Super Skrull. He looks like Super Skrull.
They basically took the concept of Super Skrulls and just made a shit ton of them for no reason, and then they remembered, oh shit, we have to actually make the real, the Super Skrull TM. So, fuck it, give it to her, and it's just like.
Sorry about that, Brainstorm. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, you guys are good. I kind of expect this with you and Dalton. Okay. I just want to mention, and I mentioned this when you and Dalton watched the Marvel trailer, but if I remember correctly, a lot of people were saying, like, people that watched the show said that it seemed like it was a failed pitch for a Captain Marvel 2 movie.
Yes. And it was because Disney realized how much the fans hated the character of Captain Marvel and the movie of Captain Marvel, but they also didn't want to admit that the anti-SJWs were right about anything, so they soft rebooted the Marvels and came up with some corporate bullshit reason why Captain Marvel 2 is actually the Marvels, instead of admitting, yeah, we know we fucked up Carol Danvers, so here, let's make a transitionary movie.
You want to know something sad about Secret Invasion? The guy who wrote the writer, I believe he's the writer or the director, I don't remember. He said something along the lines of like fight scenes are just mechanics, or basically just a mechanic to forward the story. They themselves are not. There's no storytelling in the fight scenes. It's just punch.
Fuck all of that noise.
Like that shit made me fucking angry when I heard that. Like,
to be fair, a lot of people think that, and to those people I say, "Fuck you, you're a goddamn idiot." But no, okay, a fight is a story in itself.
Well, that, but also someone's fighting style and how they again, going back to what I said earlier about writing for the power set, not the person using the powers. Like the way someone uses their powers or abilities tells you something about them as a character, and also the kind of powers they have also frequently tells you something about the character. Like this really isn't that controversial. Frankly, actions, especially the actions of your character, tell you things about them. And in a fight scene, particularly, that is basically a mundane expression of a conflict of interest, a conflict of wills, a conflict of motivations, etc. So to say that, although I'm sure he didn't pull this out of his ass, because that is how SJWs think about fight scenes. If you notice the thing about SJW writers of comics, they always use fight scenes as cold opens, and instead of making the fight scene the point of the story or a large percentage of the story, they always use fight scenes as transitionary periods or cold opens, so that they can then go on to talk about slice of life shit. Because in their heads, they think the slice of life shit is more interesting than the fight scene, which is why like a good 70% of modern Big Two comics will always start with a fight scene in progress that is half done. The character will finish it in like 2 panels, and then they'll go on about the rest of the events of their day doing slice of life shit.
And it's
whereas in old comics, it was very much the other way around, or the slice of life stuff would coexist alongside the fight scenes, which is how you actually should be doing it. I either have the day-to-day stuff be in the background and have the fight scenes be the focus, or have, in good storytelling, the fight scenes and the slice of life stuff are coexistent things.
I'm just wondering. Okay. Rachel asked, "Are you guys just talking about the power set making sense of the character and how they operate, or are you guys talking the position that the power set is not anything about the character, must serve the characterization or some
I'd say both, right?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, because it's not just the powers that a character has; it's how they choose to use them. For example, someone who is a schemer, is a master manipulator, is the kind of person who thinks several moves ahead, is going to use their powers in a different way than someone who is more, I'm going to smash this in and ask questions later. I'm gonna use an example that I know Dresden Files gonna know, or I know Dragon Turtle's gonna know from Dresden Files. Think of how Harry Dresden uses his magic versus how Mark.
Show was terrible.
No, the TV show is absolute dog shit. The books are amazing though.
I know, I agree with you about the books, but the TV show was terrible.
No, the TV show is terrible. But point being, think about how Harry uses his magic versus how Ramirez uses his magic versus how Marcone uses his magic when he is given the coin of Thorn Namshiel. Like, they all have magic, and magic has set mechanics in the respective universes, or in the respective universe. But how the character specializes in the use of that magic and how they use that magic tells you something about them. And there are things that Harry would do with his magic that Marcone would never do. Largely because Harry is a big dumb bunker buster, to quote Bob, and Marcone is very much, I am going to use the most efficient, most proper use of this energy when I can, and Ramirez is in and of himself different. And you can get away with some of that is the character's powers, what the character's powers allow them to do is also slightly different. But even if every single character had the same powers, they would still use them differently because of their background, their education, their personalities, and mannerisms. For example, even though Superman could axe handle someone through a planet, he's probably not going to do it on the basis that he doesn't like wanted destruction, and he doesn't often allow himself to go full. He doesn't let himself off the leash very much. That's why one of the scenes that Brainstorm and I both mutually adore is the scene where he's talking to Darkseid, and he explains how much he has to hold back all the time because the world is basically made of cardboard and glass.
So what's interesting about that, to go with your personality matching the power set, what's interesting is in the magician, like in the magicians, Dalton will probably know what I'm talking about.
I love the magician so much; it's so awesome.
I liked it until the feminist shit popped up. But anyway, like there's a villain who basically the villain. What's the fucker with the moths or whatever that attacked you?
Martin Chatwin, the Beast.
Yeah, the Beast. Like his the way they built up the way they matched his powers with his personality and sort of built him up was fucking brilliant. Oh my god, he was.
Yeah, they basically turned him into a trickster god. The other thing that's great about the magic of the magicians is the magic that blooms in you, the magic that manifests from you, is very much an extension of your personality, and in particular, in the case of the magicians, your trauma. Because in the magicians universe, magic is essentially a divine gift given to those who have undergone trauma and is fueled by the pain of that trauma. I think Elliot even says in fucking, I think it was episode 2, actually. It was very, very early on. Funny little irony about magic they don't tell you. Magic doesn't come from talent. It comes from pain. And that mechanic is carried through both thematically and in universe for most of the show, in that the magicians get stronger and often more inspired to do bigger and more complicated magic based on how much trauma they're going through it at any given moment. To the point that at one point in season 1, Quentin, the main character, finds out that his dad has cancer. And he goes to play a magical sports game with his friends in Breakbills. And he puts what, for him, he considers a normal amount of energy into this spell that he's casting, and it becomes a giant fucking hurricane that destroys the entire game board or the entire field that they're playing on, because he put what for him is a normal level of energy into things, and he didn't realize how much extra energy he had because of the pain he was going through with his father. Anyway, that's enough geeking out about the magician. But anyway. We really should get back to Invincible.
Alright.
We've gone so many tangents.
Superpowers from trauma. That's the plot of Ignition or Ignited or whatever that Mark Wade book was.
Let me guess, you fucked it up horribly.
I know what you're talking about.
It's like basically like a bunch of teenagers get powers from a school shooting, and like the gay guy's power is to give you an STD.
What?
I like Dalton's face.
I think my brain just broke. What in the actual galaxy dissolving fuck just happened?
Dragon Turtle brings us up. That is actually a lot like Terror Human. You get superpowers from trauma and some like not every.
He grabs this like the homophobic jock by his balls, right? He like grabs his junk and then gives him like an STD. It gives him like a super STD and then walks off.
that character is a hate crime. Like the character itself, the creation of and writing of that character is a hate crime against gay people. I'm calling it. I don't even fucking believe in hate crime, but if such a thing exists, I think that character might be a hate crime against gay people.
Like there's a magic in like there's a magic in like SJW comics that you just cannot replicate. Like no one can replicate that. That was just oh my god.
But like okay, even playing the stupid ball where it stupidly lies here for a second. If you're gonna do this, and we'll make it sort of SJWE. Here's a better way of going about that exact same scene. Instead of giving him the power to generate germs from touch, which is gross, stupid, and again might be a hate crime. What if you gave him like some kind of pheromones or some kind of persuasion powers so that he can make people fall in love with him? And instead of giving the homophobic jock a superhuman STD by touch, what if he instead forces the homophobic jock to fall in love with him?
Like, I mean, that would be interesting, but like,
and you could even have a somewhat dark turn where he does it just to make him do it, and then he leaves him, and then he makes him fall in love with him, kisses him, and walks the fuck away. But then we see the homophobic jock spiral because the love power is permanent. So now this guy is going to spend the rest of his life obsessing over this guy he used to bully, and the gay character is just going to ignore him. That would be an interesting. Like
it would be very dark. Yes.
Even playing the SJW ball where it lies, like I can think of better ways to do this with trauma-based powers and gay character. Like I
agree with Jonah. You're not taking too much Jonah, but I mean, to be fair, Jonah, that is his whole thing.
It's what I do. I think of things in terms of their in-universe mechanics, and Brainstormer hates me for it because he'll come up with an idea that is kind of barely half-baked, and usually all it takes is one well-placed question, and then it's like, you do realize I'm gonna have to rewrite this entire character now. Fuck you. And I'll be like, isn't it better though? And he'll be like, yes, but shut up.
I mean, like, that was basically the thing about, like, that's basically the mistake I made when it came to Secret Invasion. It was just like, people were just thinking about things too much. Because, like, for them, it's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if we had a really strong Skrull that had all their powers? And then everyone else, it's like, that's kind of stupid, and that's Super Skrull. But, like, no, it's just for them, it's like, oh, this is cool and neat. Let's do it.
And then somebody like me comes in and is like, okay, are you gonna do anything with that, or is this character going to like have anything other than that as a personality? No, it's just there. It's just there. We're never going to address it again. We're never going to do anything interesting with it. We're never going to give this character a character so that her use of that power makes sense or in any way is compelling. We're just going to have her there because.
Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna play this just so we can get through this because we have one more thing to end on.
All right.
I know Dragon Turtle. I was just saying, even in the framework, or even with the limitation of social justice as a guiding principle, you can still do better, more interesting characters. And in this one case, I think it could make sense because if the guy's trauma is specifically from homophobic bullying.
Oh then, no! His power. They all get their powers from the school shooting.
Yeah, they become a super powered Antifa, right?
Well, say that again.
they become a superpowered Antifa?
Yes, they do.
I've seen videos of it. What are you talking about when you brought up it tonight?
Yeah, I mean, they become like a superpowered Antifa. Also, they start talking about they become like this terrorist group, and it's
a villain origin story, but they're not framed that way, are they?
not really. No, like it's about the power. So the idea is that they're standing up and doing what adults won't do, which is fight gun violence.
So David Hogg, if he were a superhero.
Yes.
Or a supervillain being written as a superhero for no good reason.
Yes, they are awful little people too. Like they have terrible personalities and everything.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do that thing where I'm gonna have to do that bragging we did it better thing, because for those that don't know, a large part of the Lionhearted universe was based on Brainstormer and my issues with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That was sort of one of the beginning impetuses of it. Was we started with the premise of Falcon and Winter Soldier and how it was stupid and how we would change it, and then for shits and giggles one day we started talking about what if we were characters in the MCU, and those two ideas sort of merged and eventually became the seed of the Lionhearted universe. But we do, as a result of that, if you guys don't know, there's a group of characters in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier called the Flag Smashers, who are basically supervillain Antifa, but they aren't framed as villains.
No, and the leader is martyred, I believe. They treat her like a martyr.
Yes. And we again, because this is sort of where the roots of the Lionhearted universe came in, we created a version of that, but we framed them correctly as villains. They're called the Judges. The backstory of them we won't go into, but the leader of the Judges is a character by the name of Amelia Angel, who basically is. Do you remember the character of Nancy from the movie The Craft?
That's the chick with the black hair, right?
Yes, the one that goes mad with power.
Yeah, and then she goes insane, and then she loses all her powers and goes insane, right?
Yeah. Amelia Angel is a lot like her, except if she became the leader of a supernatural terrorist organization. She becomes a reoccurring antagonist throughout the series, and she becomes a kind of the main antagonist to my self-insert character. But that's neither here nor there. But we basically have her go further and further and further into self-destructive dark magic because she keeps prioritizing power over skill, and of course my self-insert character schools her for that repeatedly. Yeah, I shouldn't go into any further detail than that, but my point is that you can do supervillain Antifa correctly, and we have.
The biggest thing I'm actually really this, so we end the discussion of the Lionheart. The thing I am most proud of is that it is. I'm sure Dalton's actually very proud of this too. Is that it is actually a very mystical in nature universe.
Yeah, the sort of root base for it is every like mystical, folkloric, creepypasta or urban legend or conspiracy theory. There's some aspect of it in here.
We're not doing everyone just because there's too many.
Right, but all the major ones, like the Jersey Devil's a major character in one of our stories. We did our own take on like the gray alien type, and in fact he's kind of our Superman. We did Saint Germain. We did I'm trying to think of some other ones. our version of Rasputin is actually also Koshchei, the sorcerer, the immortal sorcerer from Russian folklore, and it goes on like that for a long time. But yeah, the main conceit of our universe is what if the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but kind of seen through the lens of mysticism, folklore, urban legends, and like conspiracy theories and creepypastas.
It's a pain in the ass because it's such an expansive world, and you can all blame Dalton for that, or thank him, or whatever. I blame him.
Yes, he kept coming to me with like individual standalone ideas, and I was like, but given this character and this character and this character, if we connected them in this way, it could be an entire thing unto itself. And Brainstormer, of course, goes, "Dig nabbit," but I can't not use that. It's too good not to use. And the rest is history. Anyway, we really do have to finish the trailer now.
Yeah, poor guy. Like, if I were in the same room, I would be strangling him like Homer does to Bart in the sense.
Yeah, I would deserve it. In fact, the first time we do meet IRL, you're probably going to beat me within an inch of my life, and I'm just going to probably be okay with it.
Anyway, let's finish this. I actually don't want to get to the last thing. Or midnight.
Banana.
Son of he who slayed my husband.
I am a normal human superhero. I wish he was dead too, but not for your sake.
Kill first, ask questions later.
Viltrumite against Viltrumite. That has not happened since the Great Purge.
That's what they got.
Optimus Prime, is that you?
Yep. Their clone is always awesome.
Is that supposed to be Thrag, or is that supposed to be the other one, the older one?
I'm not saying the spoilers, also because I don't remember the character's name. But it's not a Viltrumite I think you would know. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Banana.
20 seconds.
You should have died at birth.
Again, it's just a really good cast. Like, I think they actually really embody those characters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second, I'll pull up the next thing.
Yep, the last thing of the night. Oh, fucking hell. I don't know why I'm so tired. I didn't wake up until like 3 in the afternoon today. I shouldn't be tired yet.
Can you DM on Discord? Sure, thanks. I was just reading the chat. Alright, so what's the last thing we got?
Brainstormer?
I think Brainstormer fell asleep.
It's low.
Alright, so yeah, like what is it? So apparently it was a mandate from Kevin. Like, I'm reading this article, and apparently it was the fight scene was a mandate from Kevin Feige that they actually had to have like a fight scene. So I'm guessing like Secret Invasion wouldn't have even had like a fight scene. It would have just been
the original writers are exactly what I was describing earlier with they focus more on slice of life and consider fight scenes window dressing thing.
Pretty much, yeah. Like it exists because it has to, instead of like using it as a form of storytelling.
Or even enjoying it for its own sake.
Exactly.
Because they don't like fights or action, apparently.
Also, I do want to point out, Super Skrull is a Fantastic Four villain, and I don't think it has the weight of that villain if Fantastic Four haven't been introduced yet.
Well, I mean, they could introduce him first and have him show up in the Fantastic Four, though.
Pretty much, yeah. Instead, they gave it to this They gave it to an OC.
Yeah, and also it niggling little problem with this. My boy Hulkling is supposed to be the son of the Super Skrull and Captain Marvel.
It's supposed to be Captain Marvel and I'm talking more now, like the original Marvel, who I thought was also the Skrull Princess. The Super Skrull.
Yeah. But point being, you have to introduce Hulkling somewhere, and they already established that there's someone who was a mixture of Kree and Skrull in here. So they've already given up. They've either already given off Hulkling's backstory, or they're gonna have him be the second Kree Skrull hybrid, which is bullshit. Like that was a key feature of Hulkling's character in the comics, because the fact that he is half Kree and half Skrull is what allows the Kree and Skrull empires to finally make peace. Because he's technically royalty to the Skrulls. But apparently no, we're just gonna have a bunch of Kree Skrull hybrids now, because there's nothing special about Hulkling. Assuming they even introduce Hulkling, which they haven't yet, or assuming they aren't going to replace Hulkling with Scar, like She-Hulk kind of implied they were going to. Which
okay, so again, everyone take a drink for Dalton being very overprotective of Hulkling and Wiccan.
Yes, they are my boys, and anyone who hurts them will be answering to me. God damn it!
I just imagine they're just gonna replace him with a chick anyway.
Which is really dumb, because
which doesn't even work for SAW logic, because you would think they would be over the moon of a gay couple. But oh wait, I forgot. Gay couples have to both partners have to be effeminate for SJWs to give a shit about gay couples. They hate anyone in a gay couple being masculine for whatever fucking reason.
Also, chicks before dicks when it comes to Disney.
Well, that, and as Corrupt and I have been saying, I think since like 2017, lesbians are the marketable gay people. They never do a male for male couple when they can do a female for female couple.
Yeah, like, pretty much. They're more widely acceptable and more palatable to the general audience.
Because God forbid we should show two men having physical affection for one another. No, it has to be women, because women are the emotional ones, don't you know?
Unless it's like two old dudes or two dudes who are like conventionally unattractive.
Yeah, like deliberately ugly. But no, you can never have the like. I might be weird here, but am I alone in thinking that the jock and the big strong jock and the more petite nerd is like the quintessential gay romance couple? Is that just me having a selection bias, or is it genuinely as common as I've seen? Because everywhere
it's somewhat common, yeah.
Everywhere I've looked in like romance for romance novels or in bookstores and stuff, like I would say about a fifth of all male for male gay stories feature some variation of the strong strapping character, whether it's actually a high school jock or not, although quite often it actually is, and then the smaller petite character.
Yeah, it's usually a big dude and some twink. So yeah, I think I agree with you. That's what I see normally when I look up gay shit.
Yeah, so like it shouldn't be controversial that one of these partners has to be effectively hyper masculine, and the other one has to be the stereotypical nerd. Like that is the or one of the quintessential gay cliches, and yet they won't do it because they refuse to acknowledge that gay man is not an extension of femininity.
Right. Okay. So Gianto does say you forgot there's also the two super. I'm assuming you meant feminine and flamboyant gay couple, and the one for the female gay.
Well, that's what they do. They never allow for the type of couples that actually exist. And I know verse people also exist. Like I know, but typically, just like in heterosexual couples, you have the top and bottom effectively. So too in gay couples, you typically have a top who is more masculine and a bottom who is more feminine.
Yeah,
and it can be comparative, as in, but yeah.
These are pretty iconic roles within gay circles and culture, in gay dating culture and shit.
Because it seems to be the case that no matter what kind of romantic relationship you're in, someone is going to be taking a more masculine role and someone is going to be taking a more feminine role, whether it's heterosexuals, whether it's lesbians, or whether it's gay people.
Pretty much, yeah.
Hey, Gianto, in the Parahuman series, isn't there like a gay Superman character?
Parahumans.
Is there? Oh shit, no, Miracle is still different enough that nobody can get us for plagiarism.
I mean,
what is Parahumans? What is that?
Yeah, I've never heard of Parahumans either, but hopefully it's
Worm. I don't know. It also goes by Worm. Yeah, Legend, right? So, it's like The Boys, but I guess possibly better. I haven't read it myself. It's like a web novel series. Like early 2010s, it was made. It's like dark superhero stories. It's all things. I haven't looked into. I recently heard about it, like very recently, so I haven't done time to look into it as I've been busy with other things.
I don't know. I assume that our Miracle is different enough from this character that it's not going to get the plagiarism accusations.
No.
Because our Superman surrogate, or I guess in this case Hyperion surrogate, is quite unique. Yeah, I'm quite proud of him, and not just because he winds up marrying my self-insert character.
One the first book, one the second book, okay. Yeah, I think you can look it up. Anyway,
let's get on with the last thing of the night.
Castlevania Nocturne official teaser trailer.
Alright.
Actually, like, if you're a fan of the Castlevania anime, say I.
I mean, is there anyone who isn't? Who's actually seen the fucking thing?
I've seen it. It's alright.
Wait, okay, when did you stop watching it? Or have you seen the whole thing?
I marathoned it with a bunch of people in Discord. It's alright.
What was the last season you saw?
Probably back then. Maybe is there like maybe season 1? I might have seen season 2. I don't know.
Okay, so I was gonna say, because you might not have watched all the way until it gets good. Because Isaac's character arc in season 3 is some top tier freaking writing. He goes from being the worst, most nihilistic little shit to probably my favorite character in the entire show in season 3.
Oh yeah, this is definitely not which is a sequel series to the original series.
Yeah, well, whereas the previous show followed Trevor Belmont and Sypha Belnarez, this one is following their son Richter.
No, I think
I'm curious if they're going to keep spinning off from these until we get to Simon, because Simon is the one most people know, probably.
Ellie?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Banana. Yes. Blood banana.
Little boy Belmont. Your mama took someone from me I loved. I could kill you.
This is the one problem I have with this. I've watched through this already, but this is the one problem I have with this. The implication that somebody killed Sypha. Because...
No, dude, for the record, I do want to put that out. He's not the direct son. He's actually like a little older. I looked this up. I think it's either the grandson or the grandson.
Okay, so they are generation skipping. I was gonna say, because I don't remember. I thought it was Trevor then Richter, but I might be missing one.
No, I think it's well, I'm not sure. He said he was supposed to be in like the French Revolution.
Right, which was 1800s, I believe. So yeah, it would have to be their grandchild.
Oh no, they were in the 1500s.
Yeah, because they were late 14, early 1500s. So it would have to be the great grandchild or something.
Well, if I remember correctly, it was dated the date for like the execution of Alex Barnes' mother was the 1476.
Yeah, so like late 1400s, early 1500s. But yeah, so there has to be between 300 and 400 years between this show and the previous one. Then
I'm looking this up real quick.
I know they said it in the French Revolution, which means I guess he would have to be the grandchild. I just can't remember the Belmont lineage well enough at the moment.
Okay, yeah, it is set in the French Revolution, so probably
so 300 years later.
Yeah. I wanted the timeline to make sense in my head because some idiot would fuck up.
It would have to be Sypha's great either great or great grandchild, I think.
So the mother was of the
so it's not Sypha. Okay, that makes things make much more sense. Because I was gonna say, if you tried to kill Sypha Belnarez with regular like peasant weaponry, you're getting barbecued or frozen to death, or both, or electrocuted, or like there's 1,001 things she could do to you, and none of them would result in you surviving or her dying.
I also want to point out, love the animation, love the tone, music's very good too.
Yeah, I do wonder how much of the original series' awesomeness is going to remain, considering that Warren Ellis, or is it Garth Ennis? I always get them fucking mixed up because their names are similar.
Okay, I think Garth Ennis was the one who wrote The Boys. Warren Ellis is the one who wrote Captain.
Okay, but yeah, Warren Ellis is no longer a thing because he got Me Too. So I do wonder how much of the show's magic is going to remain without him doing his whole labor of love thing. Because he did put his heart, soul, blood, sweat, and tears into the original Castlevania. He'd been waiting for like 20 years to make the fucking thing. Anyway, Blood Nana.
Blood Nana.
I feel like that's a reference to something, but I'm too stupid and too dumb to understand.
Anyway, going forward.
You too. And I will. One day.
Dude, why didn't you? Why didn't he just do it then and there? I assume it's I want to keep you alive so that you know I'm coming and can suffer, but like that seemed very anticlimactic there for a second. It like the first thing that popped into my head was like shit or get, dude. Like
put shit or get off the pot, bro.
Like, he's sitting right there. Just do it now.
In the series, it has been shown that vampires don't really think that much tactically and are too self-centered and egotistical to really think like actual tactical.
Well, it depends on the vampire. I'm still sitting there like this is something that not even Godbrand would pull, and Godbrand is probably the stupidest of the vampires we see.
No, the guy just has no filter, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, but relative to the other vampires who are mostly super intelligent in their ways, Godbrand is the most short-sighted of them all, at least on paper.
But I mean, to be fair, he had just killed a full-grown Belmont. What chance does a child really have?
Okay, but
I'm not trying to recognize the stupidity. I'm just explaining the reasons he would think for himself why he doesn't have to kill the boy.
No, I'm sure. Like I said, the reason is I want to keep you alive so that you can suffer, so that every waking moment that you spend worrying about when I'm going to come for you, and then when you're adult, and when you're happy, I will come for you, and you won't even see me coming. Like that, I'm sure that's at least part of the justification. Is I want you to live in fear for 20 years while you're growing up, so that when I finally do come for you, it feels all the sweeter. Like I'm sure that's the reasoning. It's just the flippant way he said that was just like, you could just kill him now, you know, like. And it does remind me a little bit of Carmilla from season 2, where she's like where Godbrand asks why she's so worried about Belmont and the Belmont hold, and she goes, perhaps on the general notion that family hunted the likes of us through fucking centuries, and if there's one of them left alive, it might have access to the trove of weapons and magical materials they used to hunt us through fucking centuries. Like I feel like that sort of moment is in order here. Like, you know, when you're a vampire and you have the opportunity to kill a Belmont, you kill a Belmont. You don't leave it alive long enough for it to grow into adulthood, resenting your ass. Wait for it to find the aforementioned mystical Belmont hold and come back to you with interest. Like this was a remarkable failure.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting, and honestly, a lot of stories have done that where the main character as a child is a family killed by the main villain.
I'll be right back. You guys can keep going with it. You guys can keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay.
I also want to point out again, I love the art style. Like the art style is never disappointing.
Yeah, it's still animated like it's Castlevania, so I'm not complaining about the art style. My question is is the writing going to still be as on point as it was?
Yeah, that is a fair. I will. But
because Castlevania is the one last genuinely good thing that came out in like the 2020 or 2010s and 2020s, and I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it get nerfed because Warren Ellis got Me Too.
Yeah. But again, I love how this all feels, like the tone and stuff. I'm not saying like with the first series of Castlevania, it was a lot more epic and stuff. And granted, given the scale and stuff of its story. But this, given the story and the characters and stuff, this feels very personal, and I love how they're setting it up through the tone.
Well, they basically gave Richter the Indigo Montoya backstory of I decided to channel all of my efforts into becoming someone who could kick that guy's ass, basically, kind of thing. Which again is why you don't leave a Belmont child alive if you can help it. If you're a vampire.
I also want to point out I have never actually fully sat down and watched the Princess Bride entirety. Like I know the general gist of it, I just never finished it.
Shame, shame, shame.
Hey, at least I watched it, okay?
I would make a To the Pain reference, but you probably wouldn't get it because you haven't finished the thing.
Okay, I have a... yeah, I don't really have anything else to say currently, so shall we?
Blood Nana.
Yeah, 1 sec. There we go. Blood Nana.
Victor Belmont. I know how much pain is in your soul. How much sadness and loss. This so-called revolution. It's an abomination.
I really just dig the whole style of this.
And I like the idea of setting I like the idea of setting it in the French Revolution too. It's cool. Hi, Corrupt.
Hey, Brainstorm, have you seen Vinland Saga?
One more time, man. I didn't find that.
Vinland Saga.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I haven't watched anime in like 15 years.
Really like it. I think you'd really like it.
Yeah, what was the last anime I watched?
I'll link it to you after. I'll link it to you after the stream.
Well, I don't know. The Grid series count as anime?
I mean, I guess, but like, basically, it's like it's it's. I don't want to just say it's it's like a Scandinavian. It's like Viking, Scandinavia, stuff like that. I think you'd really like it.
Is it about a son who wants to avenge his father?
Let me see.
The main character is blonde and wears yellow and has 2 swords.
Yeah, have you seen it before?
I've seen previews of it. Haven't sat down and watched it, but I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you'd really like it.
Yeah, that also reminds me. I gotta get back to comic shop and like get Spanish again. Sorry.
Anyway, Blood Banana, I guess.
Blood Nana.
Yep. Oh, for the record, I would love to see Assassin's Creed anime in this art style.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad. I would almost be okay with them doing a crossover if they wanted to. I just hope they didn't ruin I just hope they didn't ruin Castlevania by having it cross over to, like, I hope they don't undo the magic of Castlevania by explaining it as Apple of Eden bullshit.
It if you what is it? They're making a Dark Souls like I think it's either Demon Soul or Dark Souls anime for Netflix.
I did hear about that. I did hear about that, and I even heard they also said they were doing a Devil May Cry
I don't want to see that one.
Anime.
I'd be down for that.
Devil May Cry?
They said the Devil May Cry anime would even be in continuity with Castlevania, because they set up the multiverse with the Infinite Corridor.
He wouldn't know what that is.
I don't
Right.
Like
if you're not caught up yet, then yeah, you wouldn't know. But you'll know when you see it now, at least.
I don't know if I want it to be connected to the Castlevania universe. I like Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry has its own unique style. I don't know.
I mean, I do agree. Although it makes me, I'm curious whether or not they're going to do DMC from 2013 or DMC for like the classic DMC series.
Ew, the 2013 one was fucking awful.
You know, the weird thing is, I think it had potential. I just don't think they really hit the mark, obviously.
Most bad ideas have potential. That's sort of what makes them sad. Anyway,
all right, go ahead.
Blood Nana.
Yeah, sorry, it's I don't know why I'm.
It's still buffering.
Not buffering. I don't know. Being slow for me. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
But the days of this abomination will soon be over. All the vampire messiah will come. The devourer of light who will eat the sun.
The person who was just talking about the vampire messiah sounds a lot like Dracula's voice actor. Which I suppose he did live at the end of season 4, so yeah. Hope he didn't commit a genocide when Lisa died of old age this time.
I'm digging it. Like, again, just how everything looks and the style, and clearly the voice actors are giving it their all. It all sounds grandiose, like how they're speaking and stuff. And the music is really helping too.
Under most circumstances, yes, Dragon Turtle, but if they followed the cues of Castlevania, that's not ruination. That's if anything, that's elevation.
If I see I don't know. Castlevania for me is okay. Like
you haven't, like I said, you haven't gotten to the good parts yet.
Maybe, but like Vampire Hunter D is like the closest reference I have to like this particular anime. And I liked Vampire Hunter D, but I don't know, it just doesn't suck me into it the way that anime does.
Like I said, get to season 3 and 4, and I think you'll warm up to it, because I will admit that season 1 was too short and season 2 was very shaky. Season 2 is probably, in my opinion, the weakest of the 4 Castlevania seasons. But then season 3 happened, and they did a complete 180 with Isaac's character, and he went from being my least favorite character in the show to being my most favorite character in the show. And And then season 4 actually gave everyone a happy ending in a way that made sense and was organic. And god damn, does it! It's been so long since we got an unvarnished happy ending in anything. So
I don't know. I guess like you say, like it elevates. I don't know. This like when I saw it, just comes off as like a serious like a serious show. A serious quote unquote cartoon I would have seen in the '90s. I don't know. I'd have to watch more of it.
Trust me. If you've only seen the first 4 episodes, if you've only seen season 1, you've got a lot of watching to do because it gets really freaking good. A lot of people for some reason don't like season 3. I think because season 3 is a downturn and then season 4 is an upturn, and a lot of people weren't expecting the downturn, I don't think. But in my opinion, I think season 3 might be the best of the show, just because it does such phenomenal character work. And then, like I say, I like season 4 because it wraps everything up really well, and gives everyone a happy ending, which is very rare.
I don't know. I might give it a try. I'll think about it. I'll think. Because you recommended it, I'll think about it.
Yeah, like I said, I will say, if you haven't seen season 2 yet, then don't give up on it because of season 2. Season 2 is extremely shaky, but they bring it home in season 3 and 4.
Alright, what were you saying, Brainstormer?
So excited for Arcane.
What did you say?
So excited for Arcane.
What?
Are you so excited for Arcane?
Oh, yes.
I think I was away from the mic. My bad.
No problem.
And
Anyway, okay, we can go ahead. We can continue.
Yeah, sorry.
To drain it slowly of blood before she grinds its bones to dust.
Right in the black chip.
I'm excited for this, even though I don't have Netflix anymore.
Yeah, my one question is the writing going to be as on point for the reboot now that Warren Ellis is gone?
For what?
Because in between season 3 and season 4, Warren Ellis got Me Too'd, and they let him finish out season 4, but then they sacked him, and Castlevania was really his baby. So I really hope that someone somewhere is capable of delivering that same level of writing.
Empowered brown female. That's what I thought when I saw her.
To be fair, you have that weird thing of like that weird. I think just because you've seen so many terrible things.
Normally, when you see characters who are racially diverse in this show, it's because they're ancient vampires from other parts of the world. Like they do reference like Japanese vampires and stuff, or there is one. I think she's meant to either be Indian or black vampire, named Marana. But like I say, usually that's because the vampires travel more than the humans do, and they're from other parts of the world. Anyway, Blood Nana.
Also, sometimes they do change the characters to look more like the voice actors, like in the case of Isaac.
Yeah, they did ginger side him, but they never made his race a they didn't turn him into a BLM character.
Yeah. Well, also they did make it very interesting with like from where the character was based from, like where it came from. Incorporating like a religious aspect, discussions and stuff. It's really cool and interesting.
Mm. Anyway, let's
Yeah.
Blood Nana.
I pray for you.
See, this is going to be interesting. Is a Belmont who knows magic, and I know the successor Belmonts do get successfully more powerful as time goes by because of the whole family legacy thing. But you know, Trevor, God love him, but he's a grunt. So a scholarly Belmont who uses magic more is interesting to me.
Well,
I just randomly thought, what would a Danny Phantom live action look like? I just randomly thought for some reason what a Danny Phantom live action movie would look like.
I wouldn't want them to do it now, but if they actually did it at a time where Hollywood knew what the fuck they were doing, it would look very cool. But again, it would have to be at a time when Hollywood knows what the fuck they're doing and doesn't skimp out on the CG.
And Nickelodeon would have to put some actual money behind it.
Yeah.
I think.
Question is, who would you get to direct it if you could?
Sam Raimi. First final, Sam Raimi.
Sam Raimi. Can you imagine a Sam Raimi like fucking Danny Phantom movie?
I mean, that would be good, but honestly, and I keep simping for this director because he's awesome and nobody ever gives him enough to work with. But Michael Dougherty.
Oh. Right, yeah. Trick or Treat and Krampus.
And Godzilla Kingdom of Monsters. He's really good at making CG look artistically beautiful.
That wasn't him.
People need to. He's also really good at mixing CGI with practical, which is also really cool. Plus, Michael Dougherty is a small time enough director that Nickelodeon could get him, and it wouldn't take the moon and the stars. Whereas, in order for Nickelodeon to pay Sam Raimi to do his stuff, they basically have to sell the fucking company.
Yeah, like he is an expensive. He is pretty expensive.
Well, and for good reason. He deserves to be expensive. But there's also a lot of unsung directors who are in a same like skill range, but that have never gotten their big break, so they could actually be affordable. Another option would be what's his name? Mike. They're both named Mike, but Mike Flanagan, the guy who did Dr. Sleep, the Shining sequel. The ideal would be if they agreed to be a directorial team and worked together, but I think that might be asking too much. Anyway, let's finish this off.
sorry, it's just like one last thing. The thing I would prefer most is during action scenes, it would turn into like, you know how like in Danny Phantom, when they do the action scenes, the colors shifted, like more very vibrant, like on the cooler scale.
Kind of. I kind of know what you're talking about. I never noticed that much of a shift, but
oh no, there was. There was.
There was a shift in what?
He said
like
there
from the
was a
regular
shift
colors.
in the color scheme, and I never noticed.
Of Danny
Yeah, in
Phantom?
the background. Yeah, in the background when there were action scenes, it became like more purple and blue and green.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there is.
I never noticed that. Maybe I'm just fucking blind.
What about the end? Fucking sucks too. By the way, like how the show ends. I really didn't like the ending.
Well, the problem was they kept having his secret be revealed and then undo it, and have a secret be revealed and undo it. And honestly, I wish at some point in the show they would have just left it. They would have just left it canonized that people knew now, so that they could actually tell stories about what happens when people know. Like maybe not the first time with the reality gauntlet, because I get why they get why they didn't want to do it that early, but I think the future one, the one with Clockwork.
Yeah.
I think they would have been better off if they had left that one canonized.
Ultimate
so we could have had a season where people fucking know and deal with the implications of that.
That would have been interesting, actually.
Especially because I think in terms of its dramatic chops, the Dark Future Phantom movie with Clockwork is probably the best dramatic piece of storytelling they ever did. So they could have also set up like a darker turn for it, and it would have been cool.
I will also okay. Last thing. Perfect Jack Fenton casting. Bruce Campbell. Can't
no,
say fuck all about
enough.
We're fucking
he's not
fat
bad enough. He would have. I think we lost Brainstormer.
Brainstormer, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
Your internet glitch out?
I guess it is.
Dom?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, sorry. I think you cut out for me.
I was waiting for your internet to come back up because I know what happens when it gets glitchy like this.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't want Bruce Campbell because he'd have to gain weight to play the role
of the father
of Jack. Yeah.
Well, either way, I think he has, at least the personality-wise, a good play Jack Fenton.
Right, but him I would almost cast as Mr. Lancer. Or actually no, I take it back. Kelsey Grammer is Mr. Lancer. And then you have I can't believe I didn't notice this. Why not have Bruce Campbell play Vlad Masters?
What? No, that wouldn't even work. How would that even work?
I don't really see that. Okay, the thing with like Bruce Campbell is he has like kind of an everyday man kind of personality.
Yeah. Vlad is like an aristocrat, isn't
he? Yeah. I was thinking because the voices are kind of similar, but
well, like I said, Jack Benton, because I legitimately think he has the perfect kind of.
Yeah, he just have to gain weight for it, like a bunch of weight.
That's also an option.
Yeah. It's just hard. It's just hard seeing Bruce Campbell get fat on purpose. I can't mentally wrap my head around it.
Okay, fat suit and prosthetics. Like, if Scott Adkins can do that in John Wick Chapter 4, so can Bruce Campbell.
And I guess Brendan Fraser did for The Whale as well. So like, yeah, okay, fine.
Anyway,
who would you cast as? So Sigourney Weaver for Maddie then?
That's really like. Well, I don't know about Sigourney Weaver because she. I don't know about Sigourney Weaver because she.
Well, Bruce and Sigourney are in the same age range, is why I suggested it, and she can play the kind of competent, intelligent, tough girl thing that Maddie does.
Well, okay, but Maddie's also like kind of insane as Jack is, if anyone remembers the show. So she has to have that
she was. Yeah, she was.
She has to have that kind of chaotic energy that Jack has too.
I mean, Sigourney Weaver can play comedic.
Yeah, but not that kind of comedic. She doesn't have that energy.
I disagree. I think she could do it.
I'm not saying she's not funny. I'm just saying like
you never get either of them in a Nickelodeon movie either way. But if you got one, you could easily get the other.
Basically, I think I get what Brainstormer's saying. It's just like she has a chaotic energy in kind of a different way, whereas like Sigourney Weaver is more not necessarily a straight. She feels like a straight man.
Well, but keep in mind, Maddie also was the one who keeps Jack on a leash. As excited as she gets for ghost hunting, she's still very capable and very competent at like she's the difference between Jack and Maddie is Jack is a ghost fanboy. Maddie is the ghost scientist. She actually she's intellectually passionate about ghosts.
That's fair. I don't see Sigourney Weaver.
Well, again, we're basically doing irrelevant fan casting here because you'd never get Bruce Campbell or Sigourney Weaver in a Nickelodeon movie. But as long as we're fan casting,
maybe. I think not necessarily taking that. Anyway, okay, we got like 30 seconds left.
Yeah, we've got to finish this because I haven't eaten yet today, and I want to eat something.
Blood Nana.
Blood Nana.
Victor Belmont.
Yep.
Only on Netflix.
Oh God. Oh.
It got all over him.
I think
it was one of those sneezes that you have to check to make sure your nose hasn't exploded afterwards.
No, I think I sneezed out my heart. Fuck.
Karima, Jacques Tire.
That's Family Guy reference?
No, it's a Temple of Doom reference. Family Guy was referencing Temple of Doom.
What's Temple of Doom?
Wait, what did you say?
He doesn't know what Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is.
Weren't you in film class?
I Again,
I'm talking with you guys seriously. Oh, yes,
you are that young and that naive and that occasionally pop culture illiterate brainstormer. Kudos to you for playing it absolutely straight, but that joke didn't work because it's too believable at this point. You have avoided watching way too many like mainstays of popular culture for us not to believe that you might actually not know what Temple of Doom is.
I mean, it's not. I don't watch that one often, mind you. So, it's not one I watch a lot of, like something Indiana Jones movies. But
I'm weird in that I think my favorite of the indie movies is Temple of Doom. A lot of people, for some reason, think it's the worst of the original trilogy, and I don't get it.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I mostly watched the first one a lot. Not recently, mind you, but it was kind of when I watched a lot growing up. Like I would see on TV constantly.
To be fair, I haven't revisited Indiana Jones as often as I think a lot of people do. Like I think I've seen all of them once. And yes, I am not a complete heretic. I know how awful Crystal Skull is. Should have been Atlantean instead of alien shit, but whatever.
Sometimes what happens,
But yeah, I of the original trilogy, I think Temple of Doom is my favorite, which I guess puts me in the minority. Anyway, let's not dilly dally because my friend also just tried to call me, and I want to call him back before he goes to bed. So between that and wanting to get food, we should end the show already.
So with that, folks, I want to say goodbye. Adios, Allah, Auf Wiedersehen, Sayonara, peace, cheers, and
I'm hungry and busy. Fuck off.
Bye-bye.